We be waking up the tribes and it started on the south side. Spreading wisdom to the wise, turn the hearts to the fathers, and it started in the south side. Raising the tents of Judah verse, and you know we on the south side. I see the fear in they eyes, Levi and Benji on my right side.
Boy, you hit them 808s, bet you know we from the south side. Heard your pastor teaching lies, blitzes block, tell them we outside. Break these nations, root them out the rocks, now they can't hide. Raving like I'm Benji, bout the low like I'm Levi. Set on high, like them 30s on the dunk. Overdrive, bombs fly, keep some flies in the trunk. Too fast, slim fast, coming like a famine come. Set up camps in all your borders, now your people eating dung. We been waking up the south like Levi, Benji, and Judah. Repented in that south from Gucci, Jeezy, and Boosie. That gospel in the south, from Memphis down to the A. See us blitzing in the south, boy, we been had something to say.
We be waking up the tribes and it started on the south side. Spreading wisdom to the wise, turn the hearts to the fathers, and it started in the south side. Raising the tents of Judah verse, and you know we on the south side. I see the fear in they eyes, Levi and Benji on my right side.
Look, this is a spiritual war, so why in the hell would I fight with a gun? To all of the nations we lost, the scriptures that tell us we already won. The vision that speak at the end, I'm ready to go, I'm ready to run. Look, focus, all of this shit is atrocious. I'm about to get back on my bag like I forgot something that's left on my groceries. Trophies, bogus, y'all can't forget that they sold us. Had a white man play Moses. I'm waiting for this kingdom to fall like October.
Wait, hold up, Christ already told us we soldiers. Got the whole south on our shoulders, waking up the world like Folgers. Tell Northern Kingdom come over, this the war after that locust. Not tremble on that cup, cut this shit by the be waking up the tribes and it started on the south side. Spreading wisdom to the wise, turn the hearts to the fathers, and it started in the south side. Raising the tents of Judah verse, and you know we on the south side. I see the fear in they eyes, Levi and Benji on my right side.
Let's go. Ay. Mr. Oppenheimer, don't set this whole place on fire. Whoa, 144 like lions coming through the Bernie's fires. Whoa, we ain't getting tired, doing all our Lord desires. Whoa, got that burning fire, guess that you can call him Mr. Oppenheimer, don't set this whole place on fire. Whoa, 144 like lions coming through the Bernie's fires. Whoa, we ain't getting tired, doing all our Lord desires. Whoa, got that burning fire, guess that you can call him
Oppenheimer, I'm dropping, don't know what the time is. Christ gon' chime in, 1 hour, you know he on timing. One mind, we on the cord. Never pride, he come for the fold. Speak with a fire, I teach for the Lord. Cry loud, I speak from the cold. Most of my buttons, I'm getting a note. He on bad time, give me no choice. Speak with authority, tell by the voice. Spend 9, he came to the store. 60 minutes, goodbye to the ops. Then I'm booming, pass me the. And at night, he ain't gonna know. Only cheery, watch them drop.
Like what? He be an op. Script coming, y'all all gon' drop. Finna be a jumper who word on the lock. Rubber go, ain't did it, I cop.
Look, don't opt out. With this purple and gold, I'ma pop out. Gotta stay in the spirit, won't drop out. Snakes all around, so you better watch out.
Like what? You be the chosen. Gotta get rid of those that be posing. Bomb chop, y'all opposite of frozen. Hold up, I'ma let Micah go in.
I ain't dissing no ops, but they dead like. Let them lay to the rest like a red light. God taking people in darkness and working it out like a demon I had like.
Mr. Oppenheimer, gon' come through burning empires. Whoa, 144 like lions, gon' come through burning these lions. It's that firm fire, got the screws swinging like a Marcomine. On ships, rocking slave attire, now son of children and his blood choir. Amalek, don't get it. I do me up, it's finished. Straight to the grave, the ancient of days, the prophecies is finished. And you cannot run, you'll be overcome when he come flying in the distance. And we in the chariots, watch you burn, this is the Lord's holy visit. Destroyer, creator, he coming down with the waster. Big body, more than 8 foot. Thief in the nightly, the day shift. We take him back with they took. He coming down with that wormwood. Eating my Doomy and Amalek. We better make him our footstool.
armor bearer better get that. 83, that's what it lists at. Isaiah 54:16, Mr. Oppenheimer finna bring that. He coming down the fire, fervent heat, can't forget that. Now the day star from the far east gon' come down, can't miss that. Oppenheimer, like 60 minutes on the timer. We turn into hunters and find you, like bout the rhinos and the lions. They bout to war for Zion, like wolves when we get the biting. We be the kings and priests, we ain't bout to leave till Israel united.
Mr. Oppenheimer, don't set this whole place on fire. Whoa, 144 like lions coming through the burn these fires. Whoa, we ain't getting tired, doing all our Lord desires. Whoa, got that burning fire. Guess that you can call him Mr. Oppenheimer. Don't set this whole place on fire. Whoa, 144 like lions coming through the burn these fires. Whoa, we ain't getting tired, doing all our Lord desires. Whoa, got that burning fire. You can call him Mr.
Prophets hit the streets with no shame, man. Teaching all our people with the same thing. Nobody can run up with the vain thing. We preaching to the people what the words say. Cause it's the law. We gon' stand tall, pray we never fall. We gon' hold the line, we gon' count the cost. This the children's bread, this ain't me for dog. We gon' always win, ain't no lose or draw.
Blaze, we couldn't down all the heresies. One of course, this ain't words, just like some parakeets. I'm ride or die. This is not poker, I'm going all in, ain't nothing new. They killed me once, they gon' do it again. Hop it down on me, we walking down with the prophecy. Young prophets building an army, molding like pottery. Bible in my bed like a stick, can't fit it in my pocket. Weapons not a clone, we building up in the city. On seal with my chest, ain't no flex, they know we got nets. Better come correct, laws on my mind, I can't second guess. Pushing precepts, pushing P, my foot up on the neck. Luke 14, 23, we in the project.
Prophets hit the streets with no shame, man. Teaching all our people with the same thing. Nobody can run up with the vain thing. We preaching to the people what the words say. Cause it's the law. We gon' stand tall, pray we never fall. We gon' hold the line, we gon' count the cost. This the children's bread, this ain't me for dogs. We gon' always win, ain't no lose or draw.
It's going down in this thing, yeah. Can I get a reader crowd loud in this thing? No, I don't need a speaker. Lost sheep on my hoodie, in my hood I had to feel. It's the law, what we teaching, what your pastor say don't keep. Luke 4:17, I'm a prophet, watch me prophesy. Open up the book and read it, Revelations 2 and 9. Hotter than some fish streets, now they wanna kill me. Own me, they wanna call me like Tyrone C. told me what they call me. But I'm Kente, blood on my back from the real when it beat me. Power, what he gave us, how he made us spiritually. Yeah, it's wartime, I'm a soldier.
Prophets hit the streets with no shame, man. Teaching all our people with the same thing. Nobody can run up with the vain thing. We preaching to the people what the words say. Cause it's the law. We gon' stand tall, pray we never fall. We gon' hold the line, we gon' count the cost. This the children's bread, this ain't me for dogs. We gon' always win, ain't no lose or draw.
Shalom. Welcome to the Natives Hour, home of the 10 tribes. I'm Officer Dunn, and to my right,
Officer Hasadai.
Officer Jair.
Officer Jonah.
Officer Jokanan.
Hey, Shalom, Most High Christ bless. We're going to get into it tonight. Let's pull up that thumbnail. Let's see what we're talking about tonight. Let's play that thumbnail. Ain't no sound to the thumbnail. But what we're going to be going over tonight is called the New Cold War. Reestablishing the Western Hemisphere. So it's America trying to reestablish its dominance in the Western Hemisphere. Let's pull up that first map so we can all see what the Western Hemisphere look like. Let's pull that up. All right, you see, Western Hemisphere, that consists of North America, South America, and the Caribbean, the Caribbeans. All the little small islands also reaches down, so we can see the Western Hemisphere. So America want to reestablish its dominance in the Western Hemisphere. What y'all think about that? What do you think about that, officer?
It's that goes into Donald Trump making America great again.
Come on!
You know, the whole thought process of Esau, the so-called white man, is that they're losing a grip to all the other countries like China, Russia, Iran, you know, BRICS and all that stuff. So, yeah, white manning.
Bring it out!
Yeah, officer, to your point, in 1823, President James Monroe established the, like you say, in the Western Hemisphere, he wanted to make sure now the colonies, it used to be like Spain or other country, they made sure they do not, have anything to do with economics with these countries, to make sure they.
Bring it out!
President Roosevelt in 1904. He declared to be a military. He told the world that he would do military action whoever tried to control this Western Hemisphere, and that's when United States became the like a police worldwide. That's when they started making bases everywhere.
Yeah, you had to get all that out earlier. I did not have that on my bingo card. He said, first of all, we talking about Monrovian doctrine.
Right.
Do you know Monrovian doctrine, brother?
Right.
Second of all, Teddy Roosevelt. You know he took over Puerto Rico, brother? Come on, y'all can talk that talk.
Right, we got all this. Right, we gonna yeah, you mentioned it, but we gonna show you proof. We gonna show proof. So we got all that documented, right? Well, so we can show proof. So let's get the next one that we have here. Let's pull that up, which is it's called the Cold War. Let's pull up that in Wikipedia, and we're gonna start to read that.
Cold War. The Cold War was a period of global geopolitical rivalry between the United States and the Soviet Union and their respective allies, the capitalist Western Bloc and the communist Eastern Bloc, which began in the aftermath of the Second World War.
So right there, the capitalist Western Bloc and the communist Eastern Bloc. So that was the Cold War era when we had two superpowers, right? Click on what we have first, capitalist. Let's see what capitalist mean. I think you were right there when you just had it on there. No, capitalist. Right there. No, go back down. Go back. All right, read. Hold up. Yep.
Yeah, you ain't got to click.
Right there.
Capitalism is an economic system based on the private ownership of the means of production and their use for the purpose of obtaining profit. The socio-economic system has developed historically through several stages and is defined by a number of basic constituent elements.
Okay. So what we're looking at, so capitalism is basically you can have private ownership of everything. All right? Even the production of things, the way you earn profit, you can be these greedy, what you call them?
The corporate owners, CEOs.
Corporate owners, CEO.
Capitalism is how they own black people.
Right.
So when you look at capitalism, it goes into slavery. We were the capital at one point. Capitalism is built off the backs of blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans.
Right. But it's not for the average citizen. So you would think it's for the average citizen. But the average citizens, we can't own anything. I mean, we think we can own something, but we can't. Like those of you may have a home, but you can't own it. You got to pay a property tax yearly, and that could go up or down based on where you live.
And then they could take your house away from you if you don't pay it.
Right. Even the car you drive, right? You can't drive it if you don't pay the yearly, what, you got to update your license plate? Registration. You have to get it registered yearly.
Damn, that's heavy. You really don't own anything.
You don't own anything.
That's crazy. You don't even own yourself.
Right. So they would have you think you own something, but like the bankers and the what you call them?
The oligarchs.
Oligarchs, yeah. They're the ones who own everything. Now let's look at communists.
Communism is a political and economic ideology whose goal is the creation of a communist society, a socio-economic order centered on common ownership of the means of production, distribution and exchange that allocates products, and a society based on needs. A communist society entails the absence of, I don't know what this is.
Go ahead and click on it.
A communist society, where are we at? Entails the absence of private property and social classes, and ultimately money and the state. Communism is a part of the broader socialist movement.
So there you go. Communist is when you can't privately own anything. So basically, everything is community owned. So there's no private ownership. There's no private property. There's no social classes where you have, for instance, in the United States, you have a blue-collar worker. You have the very rich, the middle class, the poor. Come on! It's not none of that. So basically, everything is commonly owned.
And you know it's heavy about that. That goes into the scripture in Colossians 2:8. Where it do you mind if we pull that?
Go ahead, pull it.
Colossians 2:8, real quick, because both capitalism and communism are both economic philosophies created by your friendly neighborhood white man. It's communism was started by Karl Marx. That's where you hear Marxism, where your Pastor Pam tried to throw that word out there without knowing what it actually means. That goes back to communism, right? Go ahead, read that.
Colossians chapter 2 and verse 8.
Let's go.
Beware lest any man spoil you.
Lest any man rob you.
Through philosophy and vain deceit.
Both of these are economic philosophies started by white people. It really ain't got nothing to do with black people outside of controlling and owning black people, because that's what capitalism is. It's the ownership of black people. And communism really has nothing to do with black people either. It was started by Amalek. So all this goes into the destruction of black people. Go ahead.
After the tradition of men.
That's a tradition of man. Read.
After the rudiments of the world.
And these are the rules in which the world plays by. These two, that's what Officer Adon's about to go into. These two different ideologies and how it shapes the way the world is structured even to this day. Go ahead.
And not after Christ.
And neither of them are after Christ, because, that's not how we get down. Capitalism is I take advantage of you. Communism is not even, is an ideology that doesn't work in practice. You feel me? It's never has.
Okay, all praise. Right. You're right about that. Now let's go back to the Cold War, and we're going to continue reading.
The term Cold War is used because there was no direct fighting between the two superpowers. Though each
the term Cold War, let's see what that means real quick. Click on that. Yeah. Well, you may not have to click it, but yeah, just read that.
A Cold War is a state of conflict between nations that does not involve direct military action.
So, a Cold War, right? Like he said, is a what? Read again.
is a state of conflict between nations that does not involve direct military action.
So it doesn't involve direct military action, read.
But it is pursued primarily through economic and political actions. Propaganda, acts of espionage.
Let's just touch espionage. Let's see what that means.
Espionage or spying or intelligence gathering as a subfield of the intelligence field is the act of obtaining secret, confidential, or in some way valuable information. Such information is also referred to as intelligence, a professional trained in conducting intelligence.
So that'll be spying, sort of like what happened recently in Iran. That was espionage. Okay, keep reading.
Or proxy wars.
All right, let's see what proxy wars mean.
In political science, a proxy war is an armed conflict where at least one of the belligerents is directed or supported by an external third-party power.
So belligerent is
a fighter.
A fighter or somebody against the current status quo or government or something like that. They use those people. Read.
In the term proxy war, a belligerent with external support is the proxy. Both belligerents in a proxy war can be considered proxies if both are, I'm going to guess, controlled.
Click on it real quick. Yep.
Right
there.
If both are receiving foreign military aid from a third-party country, acting either as a nation-state government or as a conventional force. A proxy belligerent acts in behalf of a third-party state sponsor.
So those would be your traitors.
Right. So
go ahead.
So proxy wars were like the Korean War was a proxy war, Vietnam was a proxy war. There were wars where essentially America either backed the people there or went in and fought instead of fighting directly with the USSR or the
like
communists.
Nicaragua.
Nicaragua was a proxy war.
Right.
Come on! The Sandinistas.
Right. And the Contras.
Y'all don't be watching Snowfall.
Bring
Y'all
it
don't know
out.
about that.
Is that it? Did you finish that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, go back to Cold War. Right. So this is what superpowers use to either destabilize a government or to forward their political agenda or usurp their influence within a system or a government or another nation.
Bring it out.
Read on.
Or proxy wars waged by surrogates. This term is most commonly used to refer to the American-Soviet Cold War of 1947 or 1991. The surrogates are typically states that are satellites of the conflicting nations, i.e., nations allied to them or under the political influence. Opponents in a Cold War...
No, we're going back to the original Cold War.
Okay, go back one.
That's the Cold War term. We're going back to Cold War. There we go.
The term Cold War is used because there was no direct fighting between the two superpowers, though each supported opposing sides in regional conflicts known as proxy wars. In addition to the struggle for ideological and economic influence and an arms race in both conventional and nuclear weapons, the Cold War was expressed through technological rivalries such as the space race, espionage, propaganda campaigns, embargoes, and sports diplomacy.
All right, let's look at embargoes. Click it, yep.
Economic sanctions, or embargoes, are commercial and financial penalties applied by states and institutions against states, groups, or individuals.
So those will be called sanctions. That's what they use on governments to basically usurp their influence. So those sanctions could cripple a whole economy, right? Starve out people, right? It could be real bad, right?
Yeah, that's how they did Sudan at one point.
Yep.
They did Libya at one point.
Right.
Syria. All these
Right.
different. And basically, if America don't like you or they don't like your regime or you're not playing ball with the Federal Reserve, they'll put an embargo on you or call your leader a terrorist, say you killing the people, and then that gives them the ability to either starve you out or come in and kill you and drop bombs on you.
Right. And that's what they have on Venezuela right now, is sanctions.
Bring it out.
They also use tariffs.
Yeah, tariffs is a big one too. Yeah, Donald Trump, that's what he did to China,
Right.
thinking that he was gonna flex on them, and China's like, bro, you need all our stuff. What are you talking about?
Bring it out.
Now let's go back so y'all just see what that means. Let's go back to the original Cold War.
After the end of the Second World War in 1945, during which the U.S. and the USSR had been allies, the USSR installed satellite governments in its occupied territories in Eastern Europe and North Korea by 1949, resulting in the political division of Europe and Germany by an Iron Curtain. The USSR tested its first nuclear weapon in 1949.
That would be the arms race that they had in the first Cold War. Right after World War II. Read on.
4 years after their use by the U.S. on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and allied with the People's Republic of China, founded in 1949. The U.S. declared the Truman Doctrine of Containment of Communism in 1947, launched the Marshall Plan in 1948 to assist Western Europe's economic recovery, and founded the NATO military alliance in 1949, matched by the Soviet-led Warsaw Pact in 1955.
So they created an alliance. Both superpowers created an alliance. America created NATO, and the Soviet Union created the Warsaw Pact, right?
Hey, and officer, you know it's crazy? Even to this day, the reverberations of the NATO being created is felt with the war in Ukraine, because the whole problem that Vladimir Putin, who is with Russia, which used to be the USSR, is that NATO would be right there and they would be able to launch nukes against Russia. So this stuff they doing is still affecting the world today.
Bring it out.
Right. And it's different now as we keep continuing with this program. We're gonna find out what's actually going on today.
That's right.
Because they went to a what they call a bipolar. What we called it? Hold up.
I forget the word.
It went from a bipolar structure where you had two superpowers, and then it went to a unipolar structure, which you had one superpower. Now we are in the stage of a multipolar structure where you have multiple superpowers, multiple powers. Those powers don't need to rely on this superpower, right, to thrive.
You know, it's crazy because this is basically just white supremacy fighting itself. But one of the tools when you read up of the Cold War was sports. Sports was used because, you know, they had the Russia versus America hockey game.
Bring it out.
They used soccer. And it's very similar because we just came out of the Feast of Dedication. It's similar to how the Greeks used to move back then, how they would set up sports in order to conquer people. In order to get down with white supremacy or get down with Hellenism, you had to do sports. Yeah, the Olympics, exactly. And that's how they use it even today. They use it. China does it. China's like, we got to win all these medals so we can show the U.S. that we're superior to them.
To this day.
Yes, to this day, exactly.
Okay, read on.
Where we at? Oh, the Berlin blockade of 1948 to 1949 was an early confrontation, as was the Korean War of 1950 to 1953.
So we know about the Berlin blockade, where was it that President Ronald Reagan at the time says, Gorbachev, tear down that wall, right?
Ronald Reagan is the devil.
He is the devil. And also the Korean War, right? They had to suppress China and divide Korea into North and South Korea, right? Through proxy wars. That was a proxy war then. So let's continue.
U.S. involvement in regime change during the Cold War included support for the First World anti-communist and right-wing dictatorships and uprisings, while Soviet involvement included the funding of Second World left-wing parties, wars of independence, and dictatorships. As nearly all the colonial states underwent decolonization, many became Third World battlefields of the Cold War. Both powers used economic aid in an attempt to win the loyalty of non-aligned countries. The Cuban Revolution of 1959 installed the first communist regime in the Western Hemisphere. And in 1962, the Cuban Missile Crisis began after developments of U.S. missiles in Europe and Soviet missiles in Cuba. It is widely considered the closest the Cold War came to escalating into nuclear war. Another major proxy conflict was the Vietnam War of 1955 to 1975.
So it's explaining the conflicts between the two superpowers at the time.
And you know it's heavy about the Cuban Missile Crisis. That goes into the Bay of Pigs. That goes into what we was talking about last week.
Come on!
America uses Puerto Rico to set up their proxies and fight their war, while Russia, the USSR, used Cuba. And Cuba, you know, our leadership has been to Cuba. They got arrested there. That was
Bring it out.
But Cuba, when you look at it, it still looked like they stuck in the 50s because of the different economic sanctions that the America has still put on Cuba.
Right. Read on.
Where we at? The USSR solidified its domination of Eastern Europe with its crushing of the Hungarian Revolution in 1956 and the Warsaw Pact invasion of Czechoslovakia in 1968. Relations between the USSR and China broke down by 1961, with the Sino-Soviet split bringing the two states to the brink of war amid a border conflict in 1969. In 1972, the U.S. initiated diplomatic contacts with China, and the U.S. and USSR signed a series of treaties limiting their nuclear arsenals during a period known as the Détente. In 1979, the toppling of U.S. allied governments in Iran and Nicaragua and the outbreak of the Soviet-Afghan War again raised tension. In 1985, Mikhail Gorbachev,
right? Now, this guy right here, we're going to come to find out, was the fall of the Soviet Union during his presidency. All right? Let's finish this off real quick to the end, and we're going to go back to him.
Mikhail Gorbachev became leader of the USSR and expanded political freedoms.
Political freedoms, right? Let's read what those political freedoms contributed to.
Which contributed to the revolutions of 1989 and the Eastern Bloc and the collapse of the USSR in 1991, ending the Cold War.
Ending the Cold War. Let's click on Mikhail Gorbachev. Let's click on it real quick. Let's read about him a little bit.
Mikhail Sergeyevich Gorbachev,
all right,
was a Soviet and Russian politician who was the last leader of the Soviet Union from 1985 until the country's dissolution in 1991. He served as a general secretary of the Communist Party from 1985 and additionally as head of state from 1988. Ideologically, he initially adhered to Marxism-Leninism, but moved towards social democracy by the early 1990s.
He moved towards what?
Social democracy by the early 1990s.
So he was, what would you call it? He was infiltrated? He was compromised?
Definitely compromised.
Okay, we'll call it compromised. Let's go to personal life real quick.
It's deeper, you saying it's deeper than rap music?
Yeah.
You want early childhood or you want to go down?
Where you at? No, it should just be personal life.
Scroll down. Scroll down.
Let's see here.
Gorbachev is a funny name.
Gorbachev. It should be personal life when you click on that. Let's see.
Right there.
There you go.
Come on.
Just gonna read a little bit of that.
Personal life. Gorbachev spoke in a southern Russian accent and sang both folk and pop songs. Throughout his life, he tried to dress fashionably. Having an aversion to hard liquor, he drank sparingly and did not smoke. He was protective of his private life and cherished his wife and family. He sent his daughter, his only child, to a local school in Stavropol rather than to one for the children of party elites. Unlike many of his contemporaries in the Soviet administration, he treated women respectfully.
So I'm thinking he was compromised by his wife.
It's always a
Bring it out.
All right, now let's go back. Let's go back to we're gonna go back to Cold War, and we're gonna go down to Gorbachev, and we're gonna look at revolutions of 1989. We're gonna click on that and see what that entails of. So you're gonna back out of this and go back to the initial Cold War. No, to the initial Cold War. to stroll all the way up. It's going to be Cold War. It's going to be the first. No.
Hey, make sure you guys like, share, subscribe. IUIC Denver. Make sure you donate all the way over here. That's weird. Donate to the Booster Club. I know, I hate it. Look at my hand is all big and stuff. Super weird. Make sure you donate to the Booster Club. Make sure you send the profits all around the world, y'all. I don't know what to do with my hand. There we go. Right here. Boom.
You're going to click on the revolutions of 1989. All right, let's look at that and see what that entails of.
Revolutions of 1989. The revolutions of 1989, also known as the fall of communism.
The what?
The fall of communism.
Read.
Come on. Were a wave of liberal democratic movements that resulted in the collapse of most Marxist-Leninist governments in the Eastern Bloc and other parts of the world. This wave is sometimes referred to as the Autumn of Nations, in reference to the revolutions of 1848 as the Spring of Nations.
So there was a wave of liberal democratic movements throughout the Eastern Bloc or throughout the Soviet Union. Wherever whatever territories the Soviet Union what would we call it?
Owned
or occupied,
influenced.
Right. There were liberal democratic movements throughout. Let's finish it up.
The revolutions of 1989 were a key factor in the dissolution of the Soviet Union, one of the two superpowers, and the abandonment of communist regimes in many parts of the world, some of which were violently overthrown. These events drastically altered the world's balance of power, marking the end of the Cold War and the beginning of the post-Cold War era.
So that was marking the ending of the Cold War and the beginning of the post-war era.
Bring it out.
All right. Now let's see what happened after that. After that, remember, the Cold War consists of two superpowers. It was a bipolar structure. After the Cold War ended, we had a unipolar structure, which America had all power and authority over everything.
Come on.
Y'all got a scripture y'all want to bring out?
No, I'm enthralled in the information.
Okay, let's pull up the second article.
Words.
All right, we're gonna read into the end of the unipolar movement. Let's see what happened after the end of the Cold War.
The unipolar movement, America's short-lived...
No, let's start... Oh, okay, yep, you good.
The unipolar moment, America's short-lived post-Cold War dominance. The end of the Cold War marked a dramatic shift in global power dynamics. With the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991, the United States emerged as the undisputed global leader, marking what political analyst Charles Krauthammer famously referred to as the unipolar moment. This period, characterized by America's preeminence, sparked discussions about the nature of global order and the future of U.S. dominance. However, Krauthammer's concept also warned that such unipolarity was unlikely to last forever. And this blog will dive into the idea of the unipolar moment, its implications, and how the United States' dominance would soon face challenges from rising economic and geopolitical forces around the world.
Okay, let's go to understanding the unipolar moment.
Understanding the unipolar moment. In 1990, following the end of the Cold War, the global political landscape underwent a seismic transformation. For the first time in modern history, the world witnessed a unipolar order, a system where one country, the United States, stood as the unequivocal superpower.
Right?
This shift, symbolizing the victory of liberal democracy over communism, gave the U.S. significant influence over the global political, economic, and military systems.
Bring it out.
Charles Krauthammer, a prominent American political analyst, introduced the term unipolar moment in 1990 to describe this period of American dominance. The concept referred to a time when the U.S. was not just a global leader, but the only global leader, both politically and economically, with the Soviet Union gone and China yet to assert itself as a global power. The U.S. appeared to have no real competition on the world stage. Krofhammer argued that this moment of unipolarity was a brief interlude in the broader trajectory of global politics, and the dominance of the U.S. would eventually be challenged as new powers rose in the years to come.
Okay, so the unipolar moment is when America was unchallenged at all. It had all full power, authority, economically, politically, militarily, over everything.
Right.
It was unmatched.
They was running the game.
Right. They can go in somewhere and nobody can say nothing.
Bring it out.
They was the authority, the world's authority. All right.
You mind if I pull the scripture?
Yeah, go ahead.
Give me Revelation chapter 17 and verse 1. Because a lot of people, this is the thing. The Christian church would never go and talk about the geopolitical happenings. They can't go through the Bible and tell you, like, yeah, the reason why America and the USSR were fighting is because of this. The reason why China's getting big is because of this. Only the prophets of God are given the mysteries to know what's going on in the world right now. Go ahead, read that.
The book of Revelations, chapter 17, verse 1.
Let's go.
And there came one of the 7 angels which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither. I will shew unto thee the judgment of the great whore.
The great whore is talking about America. Because America spiritually and politically has fornicated with the whole world. Go ahead.
That sitteth upon many waters.
And when it says sitteth upon many waters, meaning America is in every country on earth. That's what the Cold War was. Fighting for global dominance. So them putting their military bases all around the world. Go ahead.
With whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication.
All the world had to commit fornication or do business with America, as you can see during the how do you say that word? Unipolar moment. Yeah. Meaning America just running the world. Read.
And the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication.
Also going into their policies as well as the ideology that Jesus is a white man.
Come on.
Go ahead.
So he carried me away.
Jump down to verse 5.
Verse 5. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth.
So this is talking about America. America is Mystery the Babylon the Great, and was able to cause her whoredom, her spiritual fornication, to go all throughout the world from the time of the 60s, from the time of World War II, all the way until now.
Let's get that other one. Where his blessings.
Genesis.
Let's get that in Genesis real quick. Where he was blessed with the sword.
That's a cold precept.
Let's see here.
Genesis 27, 39.
Let's read start at 38.
The book of Genesis, chapter 27 and verse 38.
Let's go.
And Esau said unto his father, Hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept.
So Esau wept, he cried, begging his father Jacob for a blessing. Read.
And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above. And by the sword shalt thou live.
And by what?
The sword, thy sword shalt thou live.
By the sword shall thy live. He's saying here right here, Esau shall live by the sword. Read.
And shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck.
So the Lord is telling you, you're going to have dominion over the earth. You're going to be a superpower. You're going to be the authority over the world. Right? It was prophesied, right, in Genesis that Esau, which is the so-called white man today, will have this power.
Hit the bomb!
Before we break that chain off our neck, his rule away from us.
That's right.
All right, now let's go back.
Okay.
Now we're going to go into the roots of American dominance.
The roots of American dominance. To understand why the U.S. was able to claim such dominance, it's important to look at the conditions following the Cold War. The 90s were marked by a series of factors that solidified American power.
What's one of the factors?
The collapse of the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union's dissolution in December 1991 left the U.S. as the only remaining superpower, effectively ending the ideological struggle between capitalism and communism that had defined the global politics for decades.
That's why now you see McDonald's in
China.
in China, in Saudi Arabia. You'll see a strip club in Saudi Arabia now.
That's crazy work.
Right.
That's her whoredom.
Right.
That's wild.
That is wild.
Oh, that's you bugging.
All right. What's next?
Economic superiority. The United States maintained the largest and most dynamic economy with advanced advanced technological capabilities and highly influential financial system centered around the U.S. dollar.
And we're going to find out what those systems are. Like one of them will be the IMF bank. But what's next?
Military might. The U.S. military was unparalleled in its size, technological advancement, and global reach. This military superiority placed a critical role in maintaining the U.S.'s role as the leading global force.
So after that, they was able to set up military bases throughout the world. And also, what you call those embassies. They was also able to set up embassies all across the world.
Bring it
and
out.
Also, what you call those missionaries.
Damn.
Right? They used them as espionage or spy agents.
That goes into, like you had brought out about Esau ruling by the sword, living by the sword. Because
Right.
the U.S. military, that's his strength right there. He'll flex on you for real, though.
Right. Next.
Global institutions. Post-World War II, the U.S. had placed a pivotal role in establishing the global institutions like the United Nations, the International Monetary Fund, and the World Bank. These institutions helped reinforce America's values and policies across the world.
They reinforce American values and what else? Powers or policies across the world. What's that? The International Monetary Fund and the World Bank, right? So everything had to go through America, banking system. Now let's read on.
You know what else that goes into?
What?
It goes into the I forget the name of it, but it's the church organization that basically governs all the churches on earth, all Christian. Yeah, what is it called? What's the name of it?
Of world churches.
Yeah, Bishop brings it out all the time.
They be having them conversations.
Yeah, and basically that's how they control the narrative on Christianity. Yes, the World Council of Churches.
Yeah.
That goes into the global institutions that America sets up, because America uses that, like you said, officer, to do their espionage, but also to keep control on the Israelites, make sure we don't wake up. Like, did you see that article I posted, or that video I posted about how basically Amalek is paying for 1,000 pastors to come to the land of Israel and learn how to deal with us.
Yeah, because that's a sword too. We think sword is just the war, the military, and stuff like that. No, this is a sword. You see what I'm saying? It's fighting against your mental, because when you don't know your nationality, you don't know your heritage, you don't know that you win the war, because they're going to serve the oppressor.
That's what Bishop Kenai was going into yesterday.
With our kids,
Basically, yes, and that's a big thing that Amalek has been focusing on right now, is making sure that they not only have control of little Amalekite kids, because right now even the little Amalekite kids that be at the colleges are upset because they bombing the Palestinians, but also to have control over young, like you saw, I think they had a conference and they said their biggest threat was young African Americans, because when Judah wakes up, they're gonna go out and teach all the other tribes.
Right. That's why that social media is so important. That's why they own TikTok now, right?
Yep. Amalek owns TikTok.
All these kids scrolling on TikTok, learning all this BS like 6'7", all that type of stuff that keep them occupied from not knowing their true, you know what I'm saying, purpose in life.
Don't look.
But grow up and be some niggas.
Right, and that's also going into culture dominance too.
Right.
They don't want to lose that culture dominance. That's why they got the pastors coming to Israel. Culture dominance goes into like the norm is so-called Christianity. The norm is keeping our people sleep through rap music, entertainment, paying them a lot of money.
Boyfriends, girlfriends. That's culture dominance.
The
degeneration of the black and Hispanic family.
Right. That's why they could take a culture into another country and thrive.
Right.
Because they have global culture dominance.
And that goes into capitalism because they sell you American culture.
Right.
American culture is to be sold.
What does Bishop Yasser say? He said that the Negro was made in
a laboratory in America.
We don't have our own culture. Black culture is what Amalek gave to you.
Yeah, real
Those
talk.
niggas ain't got no culture.
You too. You so-called Hispanics as well. I saw one video where a brother was breaking down how like all Mexicans really listen to and their music is about sliding on their ops and making baby mamas. That's really what Mexican music is.
Hey, just to touch on how heavy culture is and how we just born into this world and whatever is the norm we go with without really understanding like where these traditions, how much work it took to form them. I seen a post talking about bikinis, right? And how in the 60s this pervert was creating the concept of wearing underwear to the beach for women, and how it was crazy at that time, and how models wouldn't even pose with bikinis because it was so scandalous. But you fast forward, 50, 60 years, and that's just normal wear on the beach.
No, you don't even have to wear, that's not just beach wear, that's just normal wear.
That's Instagram.
Right.
Yeah, when I was in freaking middle school, sisters would have they cheeks out. And it was just normal.
Yeah. We think it's normal, but it's a whole machine that has put billions of dollars into pushing these what are now known as norms, but they not normal.
Like, yeah, even like the fact that they can commercialize things like Victoria's Secret. And you basically, that's all America does is sell sex. That's why America is the great whore, the mother of harlots, the well-favored whore.
Sex and sin.
Exactly.
Sex and violence. That's why it's so attractive to all nations.
Yeah, the white man's culture is sin.
Right.
That's how they get down.
Let's read on during the unipolar movement.
During the unipolar moment, the U.S. could shape the international agenda at will.
At what?
Damn, at will.
Without what?
Without the constraint of a rival superpower challenging its decisions.
So it can do anything without any rival challenging it. That's power. Read on.
For example, the Gulf War of 1991 showed the world that America could take military action on a global scale with little opposition. The 1990s were a time of American triumph, economically, politically, and militarily. But as Crofthammer predicted, his dominance would be short-lived.
Short-lived. Now, 1991 Gulf War is when they went into Iraq and basically just hammered Iraq at will without any opposition.
That's for us young folk, because people born in '93, we understand the Iraq War as Saddam Hussein. But there was a war previous to that where basically Saddam Hussein in Iraq was trying to roll on Kuwait.
Right.
And so George Bush the First, George Bush the Greater came in and rolled. George Bush the Greater rolled in on Kuwait. It was like, nah, you can't take this oil, playboy.
Right.
That's before the towers.
Right.
Bring it out.
But that was all planned as well, so that the U.S. could establish a base in Kuwait as well.
Come on.
It's crazy.
He saw his
He think ahead.
Way ahead.
That's crazy. Hey, because when you got like 2004 and stuff, even black people, when you like go back and hear like even like I was talking to Officer Sear about rap music earlier today, but even like black rappers like Young Jeezy and stuff was on the American bandwagon and talking about F. Osama bin Laden and stuff. Like, what Osama bin Laden got to do with black folk?
Right.
That's that culture. It's the same thing today. You got black people talking about pray for Gaza, pray for Palestine, pray for Ukraine. It's just the propaganda they push.
If you're black and Hispanic and you're saying pray for Ukraine, you're an idiot.
Right.
Who gonna pray for you?
They put it on the top of the highway.
Every time we
pray
come
for
from
Ukraine.
camp.
Every almost every day. It's
daily. Right. So they like he said, they did go into Kuwait, but that was after the Iraq-Iran war, right? Which Iraq pretty much went bankrupt, and Saddam was saying that Kuwait belongs to Iraq anyway, because it was divided, right? It was split up with the what you call the
Sunnis and the Shiites.
No, they It was a part. It was a part of Iraq at first. All of that was a part of Iraq,
right?
Like Babylon, everything. I think did it ever get conquered or something? But
So I think-
anyway, they split that land from Iraq.
That's going into the British mandates right after World War One.
Okay.
Where basically all that was owned by the Ottomans, more
Okay.
white folk. And
Okay.
so after World War One, when the Ottoman Empire fell, the British mandate was to break up all those different Arab countries.
Right.
And so in World War II, that goes
There you
into the
go.
Balfour Declaration,
Right.
where they allow Amalek to go into the land and they took it from the Palestinians. So it's all along the same line.
Yeah. So he was like, we taking our land back.
Right.
So, but they coerced him or led him in that direction.
And
Right.
didn't the U.S. was bankrolling Saddam Hussein at one point, right?
Yes, they was funding him. They was actually funding Iran and Iraq.
Hey, that's the devil. The devil always gonna play both sides.
Right. Now let's look at. Did we finish that? We're gonna next go to the unipolar moment and its transience.
Yeah. The unipolar moment and its transience. Despite the overwhelming American dominance in the 1990s, Krauthammer emphasized that the unipolar moment would not last. History, he argued, shows that unipolarity is often a temporary phase. Global power is rarely held by one nation for extended periods, as power dynamics tend to evolve and shift over time. Krauthammer's assertion was rooted in a broader historical context where the international system had traditionally been multipolar with several influential powers.
So he's going by at the time the Spaniards, the French, the Dutch, who else was all
Portuguese.
ruling?
Yeah, the
Portuguese.
Yes.
So that's the history he's rooting
French.
back to. The French
Basically, when white people was breaking everything up among themselves.
And then you had a time period where I think the Great Britain ruled for, it was only a short period of time where there was a unipolar structure, one power, but it didn't last. That's what he's going into. So basically saying America won't last either like that. All right, let's keep on. Keep going.
Or bipolar, as seen during the Cold War with U.S. and the Soviet Union.
Read.
Several factors indicated that the U.S. might soon face challenges to its preeminence.
All right. There you go.
The rise of China. In the 1990s, China was beginning to emerge as a significant economic power. While its political system remained firmly under Communist Party rule, China had embraced market reforms and opened its economy to the world. This integration into global economy led to rapid growth in the early 2000s. China had become the world's second largest economy. With its rising economic clout, China began to challenge the U.S. in terms of trade, manufacturing, and even political influence in its certain parts of the world. China's increasing assertiveness in regional and global matters, from its territorial claim in the South China Sea to its Belt and Road Initiative, signaled a desire to reshape the global order.
So this Belt and Road Initiative, I think that's going into building roads throughout Africa, right? And let's read on.
Over time, the U.S. would have to contend with a China that was no longer content with simply being a regional power, but was actively seeking to challenge U.S. leadership.
Okay, that was the first challenge. Let's go into the next.
The resurgence of Russia. Russia, under Vladimir Putin, also began to reassert itself on the global stage. After the initial chaos of the 1990s, in the early 2000s, Russia's effort to rebuild after its military and revive its geopolitical ambitions became apparent. The 2008 conflict with Georgia and Russia's annexation of Crimea in 2014 were stark reminders of Moscow's desire to exert influence over its near neighbors and challenge Western powers, especially the U.S. While Russia may never have regained the superpower status of the Soviet Union, it has successfully reestablished itself as a key player in global geopolitics, particularly in Europe and the Middle East. The revival of Russian influence, particularly through military intervention and energy politics, was a sign that the U.S.'s global dominance was increasingly contested.
Right? Challenged. All right, let's read challenging the global dynamics.
Changing global dynamics and the limits of American power. Throughout the 1990s and early 2000s, there were growing debates about the sustainability of U.S. dominance. While American power seemed invincible, the realities of the global interconnectedness and shifting power dynamics began to challenge the notion of unilateral control. The 9/11 attacks in 2001 marked a turning point, leading to prolonged military engagements in Afghanistan and Iraq. These wars proved costly in both human lives and resources, and by the end of the 2000s, many began questioning the U.S.'s capacity to maintain its global leadership amidst ongoing conflicts and the financial burdens of war.
Ongoing conflicts, like they always in. It's always an ongoing war with the U.S.
Yeah, real talk.
Right, and financial burdens.
That's and even like you got the peon Edomites who are mad. They mad at the elites of the world because they like you said, they go into, they call it the never-ending wars.
Right.
They fear that their kids are gonna always die in these weird Middle Eastern countries, basically fighting for Amalek. Because at this point in the game, everybody understands Amalek is the one who's controlling the flow. Everything is to make sure those people over there in the land of Israel have control over different things as well as oil.
Bring it out.
Right. Let's read additionally.
Additionally, the rise of new economic competitors and a changing global economy began to erode U.S. economic supremacy.
So, U.S. economic supremacies began to erode, right? Because of what? The rise of new economic competitors and changing global economics, basically. Read on.
While the U.S. was still the world's largest economy in terms of nominal GDP, emerging economies like China, India, Brazil were increasingly important players in the global trade and finance. This shift from a unipolar world to a multipolar one was particularly visible in global forums like the World Trade Organization and the G20, where the influence of non-Western powers grew significantly.
Right, so now everybody don't have to rely on the United States for trade and economics.
That's
because
right.
of the emerging powers like China, India, Brazil. It's more. Iran, even the South American countries in South America as well. It's more than Brazil. So let's read on.
Hey, an officer, to your point, with Brazil, it's called BRICS. Brazil, Russia, Iran, and China. They all banded together to form their own form of NATO, where they no longer wanted to depend on the U.S. petrodollar or the U.S. dollar, which is backed by oil. And so they've all banded together, and they were just like, they're letting Saudi Arabia and all those different Arab countries know, like, hey, we'll buy your oil with this instead of buying it with dollars, or we'll buy it with gold. And so that's also pushing America out.
Bring it out.
Let's read the end of the unipolar moment.
The end of the unipolar moment. By the late 2000s, it became clear that the unipolar moment was over. The U.S. still remained a major global player, but it no longer had the uncontested dominance it had enjoyed in the 90s. The rise of China, the resurgence of Russia, and the increasing influence of regional powers.
And the increasing influence of regional powers meant what?
Meant that the world was no longer operating under a single U.S.-led order.
Right there. They didn't need the U.S. because of the up-and-coming regional powers. Read on.
Instead, it was moving toward a more complex multipolar system where various countries and regions would compete for influence.
Read on.
Moreover, the American-led global order faced significant challenges in adapting to the rapidly changing world. Issues like climate change, pandemics, cyber warfare, and transnational terrorism require cooperation and collaboration among many nations.
They call it transnational terrorism because they can pop up in any country, any state. These are the challenges they face during this time. Climate change, right, which is a lot of time this got to do with the melting of ice glaciers, global warming, right, where now they got to decide, okay, are we going to now put a military ship over here? Right, to for this new territory or whatever.
Bring it out.
Pandemic, cyber warfare. Now that grew tremendously because we got cybersecurity in the last 3 years or so. Cybersecurity has been big. All right. Read on.
The financial crisis of 2008 further exposed the vulnerabilities of the U.S. economy and its over-reliance on global financial systems.
The U.S. also over-relied on global financial systems because we had that big crash in 2008. So where the government had to give bailouts just to keep the system afloat.
Bring it out.
All right. Now let's go into how it relied on global financial systems. Let's pull up the next tab that I have. And we're going to go into that. It's global financial system. Let's read what the global financial system is. So we're going to see what it consists of and what exactly that the U.S. over-relied on, which now caused them to rethink their strategy and reestablish the Western Hemisphere.
Bring it
Let's
out.
pull that up.
The global financial system is the network of banks, markets, institutions like the IMF, World Bank, and regulators facilitating cross-border money, credit, and investment flows. Crucial for trade but facing challenges like fragmentation due to geopolitics, rising debt, tech disruption, fintech and stablecoins, and climate risk requiring adaptation through new standards, digital integration, and central bank cooperation to maintain stability and support sustainable development. Key components and functions. Institutions. Central banks, IMF, World Bank, commercial banks, rating agencies, sovereign wealth funds. Markets. Foreign exchange, bond markets, stock markets, derivatives. Mechanisms. Payment systems, credit lines, capital flows, international standards. Role. Funds global trade, investment, and development by connecting savers and borrowers worldwide.
Let's go to the next one. Just the next slide, number 2.
Current challenges and trends.
Yeah.
Fragmentation. Geopolitical tensions disrupt capital flows and investments. Volatility. Stretch asset valuations, sovereign bond market pressures, and non-bank.
Now, these were actually the challenges when you read up. Current challenges and trends. The first one we discussed was the key component and functions. These are now the challenges that America faced. So when you go back to fragmentation, all right, it explains what that challenge is. Let's read it again.
Fragmentation. Geopolitical tension disrupt capital flows and investment.
So geopolitical tensions, geopolitics disrupted the capital flow and investments. Right? So that's one challenge America's faced. Read the next one.
Volatility. Stretch asset valuation, sovereign bond market pressures, and non-bank institution risks elevate instability.
There's another one. Non-bank institutions risk elevate instability. So they was setting up their own banks. I'm thinking that's what that means, right?
That's like you have like situations like with Syria, Sudan, I think Iraq, Iran, and Libya. Mm-hmm. They were all countries that did not have IMFs or the International Monetary Fund.
Right.
And so those were when you look at the history of the U.S. over the past 30 years, those were all countries that America either bombed or went into to start war because they did not have an IMF, which also goes into the geopolitical tensions that it's talking about.
Right. Under you see where it says volatility, you see sovereign bond market pressures. So they was creating their own sovereign economic system.
Basically, if America and Amalek don't have control over your money, they gonna bomb you.
Right. So it elevated the risk of instability. All right. Next, we have what?
Technology. Fintech stablecoins like digital dollars and blockchain offer efficiency but create regulatory gaps and new risks.
Right. That created new risks.
That goes into cryptocurrency. Things like Bitcoin and Ethereum and stuff, which that all challenges America's dominance over the petrodollar because Bitcoin is not regulated. meaning
Right.
anybody could have Bitcoin to do whatever they want.
Bring it out.
Yep. Next.
Sustainable finance. Need to align finance with climate goals and development, facing high costs for developing nations. Debt, rising leverage in private sectors and sovereign debt increases downside risks. Future directions and reforms. Adaptation. System needs to evolve to support global trade and development, not hinder it. New architecture. Calls for revamping international financial architecture, especially for sovereign debt and digital finance.
The next one, next page. Need that?
Cooperation. Enhanced central bank coordination is vital to manage interconnected risks. Standards. Need broader principle-based standards for digital finance and sustainability. Digitalization. Exploring tokenized money, bonds, and deposits for efficient settlement and policy.
So they want to create reforms to prevent something like this from prevent reliance on the global financial institution.
Basically to stop them from losing control. That's
Right.
why Bishop bring it out all the time, how
Come on!
America's going to set up its own digital currency, and it's going to go along with like China has.
Yep.
China has a social credit system where if they don't like how you moving, they can then control your money and shut your bank account down. Same way they did with Kanye.
Bring it out.
Now let's read the summary of everything.
In essence, the system is a complex interconnected web that enables global economic activity, but is under strain from geopolitical shifts, technological change, and pressing development needs, necessitating significant reform for resilience and equitable growth.
All right, so they want to create reforms, right, to prevent everything that happened to them from happening again. Like you was going into, like you said, what the bishop said, right? They're going to create this one currency, right, officer? So we're going to go to the new Cold War, emergence of global competitors. Right, we're going to go there. The new Cold War. Y'all good over there?
Yes.
Okay, so let's read that at first.
Emergence of new global competitors. The number of countries with significant influence is more than 5 other nations has almost tripled.
Hold up. Go to unlike the bipolar structure. Yep, right there.
Unlike the bipolar structure that prevailed in most of the 20th century, Cold War, the current global landscape is shaped by technological dominance, economic independence, and influence competition across emerging regions such as Africa, Latin America, and Southeast Asia.
See, that competition is growing everywhere. Now, let's look up. It says bipolar structure. Pull that up real quick and we're going to come back. Let's see what that means. It is, yep. Read that.
A bipolar structure refers to systems with 2 opposing dominant poles, most commonly seen in a bipolar disorder, where moods swing between manic highs and depressive lows, like bipolar 1 and 2. And in international relations, where power is split between 2 superpowers,
right.
U.S. versus USSR in the Cold War. A signifies a duality, whether emotional, mental health, political, or systematic, involving contrasting states or entities.
All right, now let's go back and let's go to despite focus. Yeah, read that in bold real quick.
Despite focus on a new Cold War between U.S. and China, a new report finds the global risks are spread much wider, involving 34 countries who have significant influence in more than 5 other nations.
So now it's involved 34 countries. Now let's go down to the emergence of new global competitors.
Emergence of new global competitors. The number of countries with significant influences in more than 5 other nations has almost tripled, rising from 13 at the end of the Cold War to 34 in 2024.
Dang.
In addition to China and India, countries like Turkey, United Arab Emirates, Vietnam, South Africa, Brazil, and Indonesia are all growing in influence. The Trends in Geopolitical Influence and Peace report from the Institute of Economics and Peace provides a critical analysis of ongoing trends in international affairs. Amidst growing discussions of major conflict and frequent assertions that the world has entered a new Cold War, Currently, there is an observable trend of major global alliances solidifying, with Russia, China, North Korea, and Iran strengthening formal pacts with NATO allies are now exceeding their 2% of GDP commitments to defense spending.
What was that part again?
While NATO allies are now exceeding their 2% GDP commitments to defense spending.
Read on. Military.
Military spending is now at its highest level since the end of the Cold War, with a notable increase since the onset of the Russia-Ukraine war. The idea that the world is in a new Cold War arises from a series of escalating geopolitical events that reflect intensifying rivalry among major powers, particularly the United States and China. Proponents argue that growing ideological, economic, and military competition mirrors the Cold War dynamics.
So this is also one of the divides between America and NATO, because NATO is now exceeding their 2% GDP commitment. That's what they committed to.
Bring it out.
2% military budget. And that's one of the divides, but you're gonna see it's gonna be a lot more. All right, now where were we? Let's read on.
Where am is? Proponents argue that growing ideological, economic, and military competition mirrors the Cold War dynamic, with spheres of influence and proxy conflicts reemerging as they did through U.S.-Soviet rivalry. Tensions have mounted over trade disputes, military buildups in the South China Sea, and competition for technological dominance. Russia's action includes its annexation of Crimea in 2014 and the invasion of Ukraine in 2022, have further polarized global alliances and prompted NATO to expand and reassert its role in European security.
It has what now?
Prompted NATO to expand and reassert its role in European security.
Come on!
Okay, read on.
Simultaneously, ideological divides have deepened, with authoritarian regimes like China and Russia promoting alternative governance models in opposition to liberal democracy. These developments, coupled with the rise of strategic decoupling and a resurgence of proxy conflicts in regions like Africa and the Middle East.
That's where you have, like, we got the Sudan, North Sudan, South Sudan conflict going on now. We got the Syria conflict going on now. We have the
Congo,
Gaza,
Yemen.
Yeah, man.
We got conflicts all over the world now. There's also tensions, right? Taiwan. So there's a lot of conflicts going on around the world right now because we're entering a new era of multipolar structure, and where America is trying to not lose its dominance and power throughout the world.
You mind if I pull a script?
Go ahead.
Go to Obadiah chapter 1 and verse 4.
Let's go.
Matter of fact, start at verse 2.
Obadiah chapter 1 and verse 2.
Let's go.
Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen.
We should have started at 1 because this is talking about Edom. Obadiah is talking about Edom, your friendly neighborhood white man, America and Russia. Go ahead.
Thou art greatly despised. The pride of thine heart hath deceived thee.
America was able to become very prideful throughout the Cold War and their unipolar moment when they were ruling the world. Read.
Thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground?
That's America. That's America saying, yo, who gonna stop me?
Come on.
During the 2000s with the Iraq war, the Afghan war, all of that stuff was allowed them to be like, who gonna stop me? Read.
Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou
as the eagle, that's America. America is the eagle. Go ahead.
Though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down.
And they set their nest among the stars in 1969 during the Cold War, during the space race. Read.
Saith the Lord.
Jump to verse 6.
Verse 6. How are the things of Esau searched out?
These are the things of Esau, because now it's coming out about all the things they've done in the different wars, all the evils they've done to the children of Israel, as well as the rest of the world. Read.
How are his hidden things sought up?
This is the point I want. Verse 7.
All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border.
The men of the confederacy is going into NATO, the European Union, as well as all the nations in Psalms 83 that had their part to make sure that the name of Israel was no more. All those nations are now fighting amongst each other because they're just like, man, well, shoot, I'm going to rule the world. China talking about, I'm going to rule the world. Iran, I'm going to rule the world. Everybody wants to knock off the great whore. Read.
The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee.
They lied. Now all the peace talk is over. They're like, peace, schmeece. It's all going to come to a head down in the valley of Jehoshaphat, in the Middle East, in the land of Israel. Read.
And prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him.
And this is going into eventually the fall of America.
Right. They got it coming.
Right,
They got it coming. Now we're gonna go to politics. Let's close this out. We're gonna go ahead and move on. And let's pull up politics definition. Yeah, it's a no, you're gonna click on the link. It's right under the bipolar structure. It's right under that. If you'll see politics. It's under dictionary. Yep, let's read that. Let's see what that.
Politics, noun. The activities associated with the governance of a country or other area, especially the debate or conflict among individuals or parties having or hoping to achieve power.
Having or hoping to achieve power, right? That's what politics is, right? It is the activities associated with the governance of a country or other area, especially the debate or conflict among individuals, proxy wars, right now what's going on, or parties having or hoping to achieve power.
Bring it out.
That's the whole hope of politics, to achieve power. Now let's go up, close that, pull up geopolitics, unless you got some.
Nah, I was
pull
just
up.
gonna say, no, go ahead.
Right. Don't forget the bombs, brother. Geopolitics. Pull that up next.
I was literally just gonna say politics as usual. I was just, I didn't have anything clever.
All right, let's pull that up next. And what that is, let's read that.
Geopolitics, noun. A study of the influence of such factors as geography.
Geography referring to the land.
Economics.
Economic systems with money and all that. Read.
And demography.
Demography is referring to the people on the land. Read.
On the politics and especially the foreign policy of a state.
On the politics of the states, right? How are we going to achieve power? Basically. How are we going to achieve power? That's what we need to get out of this. Okay? Now, let's pull up that next video at the first time stamp. This is going into the politics of regime change. These are little tactics they use first. Right? And we're going to kind of go into it just to show you the politics. You know, they kind of use in this case you're going to see where they're using politics and things to like scare the people or to get the people to turn against the government.
Officer,
yeah.
Like Hillary Clinton on the Arab Spring when they tried to go into all the Arab countries and make, America push their, their culture into them.
Right. Well, they use ISIS, right? And created an Arab Springs and that did work for a while. But there was just an agenda, but they turned on them.
Bring it out.
Okay, let's pull it up. Let's pull first time stamp. We're going to go 12 seconds to a minute 55 seconds.
U.S. administration of Donald Trump has sent an ultimatum to Nicolas Maduro by phone, claiming, or at least the claims are, that he communicated that either Nicolas Maduro leaves or this can be done the hard way. Now, we're going to get right into the story here. Let me just play for you the Fox News report. Sorry about that. Let me just play for you the Fox News report quickly. This is what Fox News had to say about this ultimatum here.
Fox News alert, it is Judgment Day. Sources say Maduro's been praying to Jesus. That's the narco-terrorist, socialist dictator who took over for Hugo Chavez in Venezuela.
These dudes is
and
crazy.
keeps flooding America.
That was racist.
He said praying to Jesus.
That was
Right.
very racist. No, keep playing, but that was just racist. Fox News is racist, y'all.
Streets with migrants, gangs, and cocaine. 11 U.S. warships, including our largest carrier, the USS Gerald R. Ford, are now in the Caribbean. Venezuela is surrounded. The strike group is waiting on orders from the commander-in-chief as the president's holding high-level meetings at the White House, calculating our next move against the narco state. The choice is Maduro's. Trump's giving him an ultimatum: abdicate power or else. After Trump's phone call with the dictator, that's the best offer.
The New York Times reported that you had a phone call with Maduro. Did you?
I don't want to comment on it. The answer is yes.
And can you tell us a little bit
No,
about
I can't do that.
Donald Trump is hilarious.
I don't want to comment on it.
I'm not trying to talk about it, but
Badly.
yes, yes, it did.
So you see that's a political tactic, right? A scare tactic for the people, where they hoping like that they could discourage the people. They're saying he's praying to Jesus. Venezuela is surrounded by warships.
Calling him a dictator.
Yep, they call him a dictator. So they was like, they want to scare the people. These are like political tactics that they use.
It goes into what you have brought out last week about gunboat diplomacy. This is a prime example of gunboat diplomacy. They literally have a gunboat outside of Venezuela. Like, yo, we are ready to shoot you in the face. That's literally what they're doing.
Right, but they're actually hoping not to go in. Let's pull the next timestamp. That should be ready.
Come on.
This white man is the devil, y'all. Just in case you don't know, the white man is the devil.
Like they're the same person.
Like the devil has a son, and his name is Esau, Idumea, Edom, aka America.
Officer, what you say is heavy because United States placed a bounty for Maduro for $50 million. They say it was double the amount for Osama bin Laden.
Bring it out.
Word.
Right.
$50 million for him.
Right. And that's a part of the politics of regime change, where they want to do it without actually going in. Let's play.
I was like, who gonna collect that?
All right. Yeah.
Them.
I mean, I don't. Yeah.
Come on.
Hey, let's play the next one.
Trump rejected Maduro requests on call as options narrow for Venezuela. Sources say Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro is running out of options to step down and leave his country under a U.S. guaranteed safe passage following a short call with President Donald Trump, where Trump refused a series of requests from the Venezuelan leader. The call, supposedly happening on November 21st, came months after increasing U.S. pressure. Maduro and his government have always denied all criminal accusations and say the U.S. is seeking regime change to take control of the country. After repeated threats by Trump to extend military operations to the land and the designation of Cartel de los Soles, a group the Trump administration says includes Maduro, is a foreign terrorist organization. So there you have it. But the problem here is that Nicolas Maduro did not actually do any of these things. I'm going to show you exactly all of the indications why these...
No way. The white man would never lie.
When have they ever lied about anything?
No, not this good white man. He wouldn't lie to us.
To start a war. Why would they lie to start a war?
Lie
That makes sense.
war?
When have they ever did that before?
Oil?
Oil.
Who said anything about oil?
Come on.
Play on.
This narrative that Nicolas Maduro is surrendering, that Venezuela is surrendering, is completely and utterly false.
So they're creating a narrative. Keep playing.
Now you have, after all of this fear-mongering and war-mongering by the Trump administration and Fox News saying that the war is coming and that the Trump administration is in the strong position and it's laid down an ultimatum, and Nicolas Maduro is begging for global amnesty and anything that can get him to safety. Actually, this is not looking as easy as it was reported, or it has been reported. Here is a report here. Trump struggles with Venezuelan dilemma as Maduro digs in and storm builds at home over potential war crime. And so the CNN is...
What war crime? What
Right.
what little brown babies did Maduro bomb?
Bring it out.
What land did Maduro steal?
Bring it out.
Yeah, what is he talking about? He must be talking about Benjamin Netanyahu. We're confused. Danny, you're confused, brother. Come on.
Indicating that this war is far from in the U.S.'s complete and total advantage. President Donald Trump's Venezuela regime change adventure is a danger of degenerating into a strategic, political, and legal morass. Trump gathered top national security officials and aides at an Oval
he's
Office
saying
meeting.
that the U.S. is facing war crimes for bombing the ships. So everything they're doing, he's saying, is backfiring.
Oh, okay. I was about to say.
Yep. Play on.
Hey, wait. Oh,
go ahead.
I was going to say, if you look in this article, it says, this Maduro talking, he says, we do not want peace of slaves, nor do we want peace of colonies. Meaning slavery and colonialism are the same thing. But Maduro's he's sticking his chest out against Trump like, nah, you ain't finna punk us and enslave us again.
Right, that's what he said on the phone call.
Oh, that's what he said
yes,
too?
Yes.
That's how you got to talk to Trump. You know, Trump a gangster. You got to talk to him gangster. Like, nah. Go ahead. Can play.
All right, play on.
Monday, seeking to define next steps in a showdown now slipping out of his control, both inside of the impoverished oil-rich nation and in Washington. And we're going to get into that as well. Before the talks, Nicolas Maduro, the Venezuelan dictator, defiantly danced before a huge crowd of supporters in Caracas in a Trump-style open-air rally, shattering previous rumors he bowed to the U.S. to leave the country. We do not want peace of slaves, nor do we want peace of colonies, Maduro said.
See there? So that's that propaganda where he had to actually go out, right, and defy what the U.S. propaganda is saying about him, so that the people could keep what you call it,
some self-esteem,
or right, so they don't break the people,
right.
So which is
morale,
which is big in war. Let's get the next timestamp. Y'all should be already have it queued up.
You mind if I grab a scripture real quick?
Go ahead.
Give me 1 Maccabees 8, because
Let's go.
America is an extension of Rome. America is the rebirth of the Roman Empire on the earth. It's that fourth beast. And so, in the spirit, I know we just came out of a Feast of Dedication.
Come on.
In the spirit of that, we're going to show what America is doing and how America actually rolls. Give me that 1 Maccabees 8:1.
1 Maccabees chapter 8 and verse 1.
Let's go.
Now Judas had heard of the fame of the Romans.
The Romans, go ahead.
That they were mighty and valiant men, and such as would lovingly accept all that joined themselves unto them, and make a league of amity with all that came unto them.
That goes into their politics and their policies. Like, yo, be cool with me and we can make a league. That goes into NATO, things like NATO, right? Come on.
And that they were men of great valor. It was told him also of their wars and noble acts, which they had done among the Galatians.
Because it goes to show that this white man has always been about war. That is his main trait. So wherever there's wars being started on the earth, you find Esau, Edom, you find the red man. Read.
And how they had conquered them and brought them unto tribute.
That's what they trying to do with Maduro in Venezuela. Read.
And what they had done in the country of Spain for the winning of the mines of the silver and gold, which
because
is
they're
there.
always trying to get resources. They live by the fatness of the land and they live by the sword. Read.
And that by their policies and patience.
Meaning that's the white man. The white man take time.
Bring it out.
He not like blacks and Hispanics who just pop their gun at every little inconvenience. You step on my shoes, I'm finna shoot it up. No, the white man wait. Donald Trump and them is waiting. They patiently waiting to take Venezuela to go in and get the oil. Read.
And that by their policy and patience they had conquered all the place, though it were very far from them.
That the Lord will send a nation from far, as swift as the eagle. Read.
and the kings also that came against them from the uttermost part of the earth, till they had discomfited them and given them a great overthrow, so that the rest did give them tribute every year.
Meaning they get taxes from all these different countries. The same way the white man rolled in the early the end of the first century BC is the same way the white man rolls in 2025. There's no difference. The white man does not change.
Right. They do not change. They want to keep their dominance and power by any means necessary.
To this day.
Let's pull up the next timestamp.
What really has to be noted here, everyone, is this defiance by Nicolas Maduro, because the Trump administration aligned media, what they're telling everyone is that Nicolas Maduro is in trouble, that he is begging to leave the country, and that it's only a matter of time before the Trump administration acts on this if Nicolas Maduro does not end up leaving. Well, let's take a look at what CNN reported here, that Nicolas Maduro was in fact dancing. There's a huge rally at the same time that these reports were coming in, that Nicolas Maduro was on the back foot. A huge rally that shows, well, no, Nicolas Maduro is actually moving his feet and looking quite jovial amid these U.S. threats.
All right, let's get the next time step. This is all political warfare, y'all, by the way. And I'm just kind of explaining what it is.
Hey, why Asher always dancing, yo? I think, Jonah, we was talking about that earlier. We was talking about that at camp the other day. Asher always dancing, bro.
Obviously, he's dancing because China and Russia got his back.
Come on! He want to keep the morale of the people up. That's what it's about. He don't want to discourage the people. Let's pull the next timestamp.
So we have lived through 22 weeks of an aggression, he says, and that can be described as psychological terrorism. And look at that crowd over there.
You know it's psychological warfare. Just keep playing.
22 weeks have tested us, and the people of Venezuela have proven their love for the homeland. And 22 weeks ago, we loved Venezuela, and today we love it infinitely. And we are ready to keep defending it. So, and to lead it down the path of peace. Now, this doesn't sound like a leader that is capitulating. And when you look at the crowd in the background, it demonstrates that actually the people of Venezuela, maybe not all people, but a significant number of them, are with their president. So,
and the military. Let's go to the next timestamp. So this is what he has to do, but he's also showing that the people and the military is with him. So we're going to pull up the next timestamp. Just kind of going over the politics of warfare.
And it's crazy. It makes me think about the conversation we had earlier in the week about how Amalek is the president over a lot of these Central American and South American countries. When you look at like Chile, Argentina, Mexico, El Salvador is run by an Ishmaelite, but he might be Amalek too. The white man running all these different countries. You see Maduro's a Venezuelan, but they're working to basically, and this is just speculation, but the white man. They're working to put in their own puppet because they already tried to put a puppet president in. I think the brother's name, or not the brother, but the Edomite name was Edmundo Gonzalez Urrutia, and he was pro-U.S. backed. So I think that's probably
the one they tried to put in Venezuela?
Yeah.
Yeah. They also tried to get rid of the one in Brazil as well, but that didn't work out. He came back to power.
Yeah. And he corrupt as hell too, isn't it?
No, Brazil, BRICS. He's part of BRICS.
I thought
but Honduras, the one that sold drugs. We're going to pull all this up.
Oh, crazy.
Come on. Let's go to where we at? The next timestamp?
Donald Trump's claim for war on Venezuela gets more and more flimsy, by the day, especially with what he pulled off during all of these escalations with Venezuela. This is what he ended up doing, okay? He ended up pardoning someone named Juan Orlando Hernandez. So for those of you who don't know, Juan Orlando Hernandez is a former president of Honduras. He was the former president of Honduras during a coup regime there. He ruled with an iron fist. It was a disastrous period for Honduras, and it was a complete and utter drug site, a part of that golden triangle that the United States has created to smuggle drugs all over the world, but especially including in the United States. But now he is out of prison because of a Trump administration pardon.
Y'all missed it. He said the United States is the one backing these different cartels to smuggle drugs around the world.
And they've been doing it since Reagan.
Yeah, that goes into Snowfall.
Right.
Like Bishop was bringing out on the 3 Milli podcast about how the CIA basically bought and funded these different drug cartels all throughout Central America, pushed it into the black community, and then took that same money to go fight wars in both Nicaragua and in Afghanistan against the Soviet Union.
Right. But come to find out, they pushed it in the black and Hispanic community.
Right. And they exactly.
Not just America, but South America.
Right,
South
exactly.
American, Hispanic, or Latin communities.
Oh yeah, that's what you was talking about.
Yeah.
They made crack in. Where they make it at? Peru?
I forgot, but it's another
Colombia and
documentary
Peru.
that's out. Yeah. Did I say Peru or maybe?
It might be.
Yeah.
Where is it, Yakina?
Colombia and Peru, that's the biggest suppliers of coke, and then it goes through Mexico, and then it comes to United States.
But they was actually
cooking rocks.
Well, I forgot what they called it. Some basing.
Free base.
Oh yeah,
it was something.
Yeah, it was in Argentina where the first people. Yeah, in Snowfall they talk about how it was a sign that start cooking. The
scientists, and they showed it to, showed the black people and Spanish people how to cook free base.
Right?
I'm thinking they just went into the house and started cooking it, but it was actual scientists who did it.
See, I always heard that crack was made in like UCLA. That's what I heard, that it was made at UCLA. That the white man, the CIA had their scientists. They cooked up the crack and was like, hey, let's just take this, a couple blocks up to Compton. That's what I heard. I know, right? Hey, when your Christian pastor gonna talk about the CIA and how they put crack in our communities?
No, they're your God. You can't talk about God like that in church.
No, it's because the Christian church is the crack house.
Message.
They push a different white rock.
All right, let's see who this guy is. Let's pull up that article on this guy here. His name is Juan Orlando Hernandez. Right, former president of Honduras. Let's pull up the next article on him. And,
like, share, subscribe. IUIC Denver in the classroom, y'all. Make sure you go to the Booster Club. Boom, right here. Because in all these countries where the white man is pushing his psychological terrorism and trying to push his neo-colonialism, those are the same places where the prophets of God are going to go there and show our people who they are and what they have to do to get right with God.
That's right.
All right, let's read that a little bit on him. This guy actually worked with Guzman. What was his name? The one that just recently got locked up. In
Honduras?
No.
In
Guzman. El Chapo Guzman. Right?
Chapo.
They donated. El Chapo Guzman was one of the drug lords that funded this man as well and provided drugs for him. Read this.
Trump moved to pardon Honduras' ex-president shows counter-drug effort is based on lies and hypocrisy. Why has Trump blown up alleged narco boats in the Caribbean and at the same time decided to let a big-time trafficker off the hook?
Bring it out.
Showdown. That's him right there. Scroll down more. Let's read a little bit.
He was a Latin American president accused of colluding with some of the region's most ruthless narco bosses to flood the United States with cocaine. Let's stuff the drugs right up the noses of the gringos. The double-dealing politician once allegedly bragged as he lined his pockets with millions of dollars in bribes and turned his country into what many called a narco state. The description might sound like a sketch of Venezuela's authoritarian president, Nicolas Maduro, who Donald Trump's administration has accused of being a narco-terrorist kingpin and is trying to topple with a $50 million bounty and a huge display of military might off the South American country's Caribbean coast. But it's actually a portrait painted by U.S. prosecutors, no less, of the former Honduran president Juan Orlando Hernandez, who Trump last week pledged to pardon, despite the fact that Hernandez was sentenced last year to 45 years in prison for allegedly creating a cocaine superhighway to the United States. The people of Honduras really thought he was set up and it was a terrible thing. Trump told reporters on Sunday. He was the president of the country, and they basically said he was a drug dealer because he was the president of the country. And I looked at the facts and I agreed with them. Trump's astonishing intervention in favor of Hernandez, who is known by his initials, JOH, has baffled many observers with one drug enforcement agency agent calling the move lunacy.
Let's scroll down, read why had Trump spent. I'm just going to skip that paragraph and go to the next.
Why had Trump spent recent weeks blowing up alleged narco boats in the Caribbean with negligible impact on flow of drugs to the U.S., and at the same time decided to let a big-time trafficker convicted of smuggling far larger quantities of drugs off the hook? It just shows that the entire counter-drug effort of Donald Trump is a charade. It's based on lies. It's based on hypocrisy, said Mike Vigil, the former DEA chief for international operations. He is giving a pardon to Juan Orlando Hernandez and then going after Nicolas Maduro. It's all hypocritical.
All right, that's all we want there. Let's go back to the next timestamp on the previous video. The next one. We're going to go to the next timestamp. We're going to do a couple more, and then we're going to go into America's strategy.
Dancing in their face. And why is he dancing? He's dancing because he knows that he has the support of the military. He has the support of a massive number of people, especially the poor, and that it doesn't matter if the weapons are not going to be able to effectively defend from U.S. bombs. The U.S. has bombed countries before. It bombed Afghanistan. It bombed Iraq. It has bombed all over West Asia, all over. And what has that achieved? What has that accomplished? The U.S. was ejected from Afghanistan. Iraq is not stable. Its leadership is not firmly in the U.S. camp. The region has not become more stable for U.S. business interests, all of this. It's an unstable hell.
Let's go to the next time step. So, yes, the U.S. got military power, bombs that could bomb the country, but that don't necessarily mean that they could achieve what they want to in Latin America. It's like back in the 1400s, they had to pretty much slaughter and massacre millions of people. I mean, they can go back to that, but it's going to be difficult to do it any other way, is what he's saying. They wasn't able to achieve it in Afghanistan. They wasn't able to do it in Libya. They wasn't able to do it in the countries that they've been in and tried to do it. Yes, they can destabilize the countries, right? But there will always be a fight to push the U.S. out. Let's go to the next one.
Israel is trying to essentially organize Latin America for its own benefit and, of course, for the U.S.'s benefit, too.
Israel is in it as well.
Damn.
Of course. Amalek is always at the root of it.
Right.
Always.
Play on.
But it doesn't have Israel's ability to commit false flag attacks, to conduct military operations in a way that favor the U.S. and give Trump the ability to get this win. So these land strikes are going to have massive implications for the United States. They're going to have massive implications for the region. They're already backfiring, and it's my estimation that any attack on Venezuela is going to lead to massive political shift all across the continent. How could it not? When you have the literal Monroe Doctrine empire attempting to invade, destroy another government in your face. And we're supposed to believe that guys like Javier Milei and others are going to live to see the day that that's just going to be okay. No, the puppet governments, all of these types, the Israel ring kissers, the U.S. ring kissers, they will be put on notice by people who do not want to see bombs over their head,
right?
Who do not want to see a government that lies down flat for the U.S. imperial regime.
Why? Because people are sick of it. Let's go to the next timestamp.
And that goes into what we had read in Obadiah about how are the secret things of Esau found out. It's no longer God bless America. Right. Now it's these dudes and them Amalekites over in the land. Right. I refuse to call them Israel. Them Amalekites over in the land are stealing, killing, and they snatching up little kids.
Right. Somebody stand up against them. Stand up to them. Right. It's just they sick of it.
I got a scripture.
Go ahead.
Psalms 94.
Bring it out.
Yeah. Psalms 94:16. Cause like you said, who gon' stand up against these demons?
Who gonna rise up?
It's no longer, oh, white Jesus, why are you slapping me? Now it's, hey, bruh.
Do it again.
Come on. Hey, say something. Go ahead, read that.
Psalms 94, verse 16.
Let's go.
Who will rise up for me against the evildoers?
That's what's being asked. Because it's obvious that America is the evildoer.
Right.
Amalek, the Israelite, is the evildoer. You can see it as they steal resources and bomb countries and bomb little kids. You can see it. It's evident. Read.
Or who will stand up for me against the workers of iniquity?
Because all throughout the earth, they've been working iniquity. Jump to verse 20. And it's not your Christian pastor.
Right.
It's not Pam. Pam is not talking about the geopolitics of how the white man goes into Africa and South America and steals the resources. Your Christian church will not do that. They want you to sit and bang a tambourine and talk about Jesus loves the little children. They don't care about the evil being done on the earth. Read verse 20.
Shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee?
The throne of iniquity is America. Right. It's Donald Trump. It's Benjamin Netanyahu and all the Amalekites and Edomites that run this world. That's the throne of iniquity. The people who say, hey, this one over here who was dealing drugs, we're going to let you off. But now that I need your oil, you're a narco-terrorist. That's the throne of iniquity. Read.
Which frameth mischief by a law.
They make it a law. Like, oh, now that because I don't like you, now you're a terrorist. Now I'm finna go in your land and take your resources because you going against what I'm talking about.
Bring it out.
But again, that the rising up is not talking about us getting guns and trying to fight back. The only way we can rise up against this evil, wicked demon is with the Bible. That's our weapon. It's the pulling down of strongholds and casting out imaginations. You can only do that with the Black Messiah and the Word of God.
Right. Let's pull up the next timestamp.
Actually, it became more firm because the Trump administration tried to kill Nicolas Maduro during those Guarimbos.
The first Trump administration tried to kill Nicolas Maduro actually twice. All right. Play on.
And failed to get the oil, failed to overthrow that government. Don't underestimate, this is what it has to be noted. We cannot underestimate the resilience of people.
All right, next timestamp. Next timestamp. Which one we on now, y'all? Oh, okay, good. Pull that one up.
Yeah. Officer, Trump knows that Venezuela got 300 billion oil reserves. That's why they want to go in there and get the oil.
Well, the U.S. got plenty of oil. We're going to come to find out they don't really need the oil. It's
but
about something else.
He greedy. He don't carry it. He greedy. He said, I know I got it, but I want yours too.
You can never have enough.
We're going to go back to the Monroe Doctrine. We're going to see here. We're going to go over their strategy. But what's this right here? Let's read about this guy. Because we was going into politics. Read this. Yep. Play this.
Pete Hegseth has been caught allegedly ordering a strike on a Caribbean boat which officials say was to kill them all, even after the first strike had failed to kill them all, as two men clung to a stricken, burning ship. They were targeted.
So basically, they struck a ship. The guys lived, and they turned around and blew them guys up that lived.
Amazing.
Right now, he getting a lot of backlash for that. So that's why he's saying it's all backfiring. But this is all going to politics.
And the crazy thing about Hegseth, they got him over to the Department of War.
Yes.
It used to be defense, but now Trump changed it to war. He was a National Guardsman. Real military people don't respect him.
Right.
You remember when he walked in? They bet him and Trump walked in with all them 5-star generals and was like, "Hey, y'all finna burn the fat." He pulled a captain ship. He said, "You fat lardbacks finna burn the fat."
Bring it out.
And they was not feeling that. They was like, "Bruh, you don't get up out of here." Civil war is coming to America, y'all.
Yes, sir. Hey, play on. We're gonna finish this one.
SEAL Team 6, the Joint Special Operations Commander, followed the Defense Secretary's order to leave no survivors. And there are the photos. The longer the U.S. surveillance aircraft followed the boat, the more confident intelligence analysts watching from the command centers became clear that the 11 people on board were ferrying drugs. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth gave a spoken directive according to two people with direct knowledge of the operation. The order was to kill everybody. A missile screamed off the Trinidad coast, striking the vessel and igniting a blaze. For minutes, commanders watched the boat burning on a live drone feed. Now, I just want to emphasize how absolutely twisted the U.S. war machine is. Let me just emphasize that for all of you. The U.S. war machine is a twisted, absolutely inhumane operation, because this is all illegal from the get-go. The U.S. shouldn't be just...
So this is one of the divides, right? The killing that they're doing in Gaza, right? The lies that they putting on Venezuela. It's
Bring
like people are like, they up to par with what America's doing now.
But you want these people to get the kingdom of heaven with you.
Right, you Christians.
Huh? You want these people to continue to bomb innocent people forever.
What?
That's a good point. Play on.
Throwing bombs and missiles at boats outside of its jurisdiction because they say they need to get rid of drugs. No, that's not how it works. But let's continue. The Special Operations Commander overseeing the September 2nd attack, the opening salvo in the Trump administration's war on suspected drug traffickers in the Western Hemisphere, aka on Venezuela, ordered a second strike to comply with Hegseth's instructions. Two people familiar with the matter said the two men were blown apart in the water. Hegseth's order, which was not previously reported, adds another dimension to a campaign against suspected drug traffickers. Some current and former U.S. officials and law of war experts have said the Pentagon's lethal campaign, which has killed more than 80 people to date, is unlawful and may expose those most directly involved to future prosecution. And that's where the scandal is, that it is a war crimes issue. And here, now, I want to show you what the 15 cases that we know of so far, according to Axios. Here are all of Hegseth's boat strikes near Venezuela that we know about. And there's 15 of them that we know about. And this has been going on, everybody, since mid-August.
So they've just been killing indiscriminately boat strikes. Let's go to the next one. The last one.
But and they never you could say that there's war crimes all you want. But did George Bush ever get prosecuted? Did Dick Cheney ever get prosecuted? Did Condoleezza Rice ever get prosecuted?
Ronald Reagan.
George Bush Sr.
Netanyahu.
Hey, and they got a actual warrant out on Netanyahu.
Right.
The World Court has a warrant out on this dude.
Bring it out.
The dude, the Ishmaelite that just became mayor of New York was like, yeah, if Netanyahu come up in here, he getting arrested, bro.
Let me get that in Isaiah. They hold themselves not guilty.
To this day.
Okay. Let's read that.
The book of Zechariah, chapter 11 and verse 5.
Let's go.
Whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty.
You hear that? We know that Esau is our possessors, the possessors of the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. They slay us in the street, but they don't just, look at who, Venezuelan, right? Which they're our brothers as well, but they slay them, right? They're destroying their ships the fishermen's, right? We had survivors, but what did they do? Go back and what?
Kill them all.
Chop them to pieces.
Damn.
And they say, yeah, well, you might be facing prosecution, but we know that they hold themselves not guilty. They're going to say this is war.
The hell is
In the
this?
midst of war, ain't no such thing as guilty. All right, let's get that last timestamp.
Hey, officer, you mind if we finish this scripture?
Go ahead and finish it.
read that.
Come on.
And I got you. And they that sell them say, "Blessed be the Lord, for I am rich." Because that's how the white man think. That's how Donald Trump think. I can sell the Venezuelans. I can bring them over here, put them in ICE detention camps, and sell them.
Right.
And their own shepherds pity them not. Right. Where's the Hispanic pastor in the Catholic Church, the Mormon Church, the Presbyterian Church, the Pentecostal Church, who gonna be like, what Donald Trump is doing to Venezuelans is wrong? What Pete Hegseth is doing to Venezuelans is wrong? Where are the Christian pastors who are gonna stand up and be like, hey, you shouldn't treat them people like that?
Yeah.
I know.
Right.
They don't exist.
They don't.
Officer, to your point, you Venezuela stand for the tribe of Asher. God called you from the tribe of Asher.
Yeah.
One of the sons of Jacob. And also, you know, like officer, you saying, you know, Donald Trump knows that his end is near. So he's trying to do everything. But he, you know, nothing can go against this truth.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Let's get that last timestamp. If we
I will vote.
Gustavo Petro, the president of Colombia, said, "Hey, we conducted legal investigation on what was going on here, and a lot of these people were just fishermen. They were just conducting legal economic activity on the waters, fishing, economic trade, etc. They weren't drug boats." And this is why the Trump administration tries to just go along, strike the boats. Hopefully, they all die. If they don't all die, just whisk the people away. There's not going to be anyone apprehended for these crimes. God forbid that there's an Osama bin Laden situation here, right? That there could be the reversal of that, where you don't actually kill the guy, you take him and then you prosecute him, and then you.
It's not going to be a reversal of that. Play on.
Evidence for all of the claims that you made about this criminal activity, and it's all out there. Now everybody knows, and your campaign worked. No. Osama bin Laden was killed like a dog. We didn't get to hear anything of his side of the story because you don't get to do that if you are used to justify war. The same.
You didn't get to hear Saddam's side, Gaddafi's side, right? You didn't get to hear the fishermen's on the boat side.
Officer, what you're saying is heavy, and what he's bringing out is heavy because it's known that Osama bin Laden was a CIA agent.
Right.
His backings to the Saudi royal family and how the Saudis were a part of 9/11, all that is documented. But to say, hey, we killed him, but we threw his body in the ocean because of Whoop Wapman III, like they throwing the rock and hiding their hand. That's just like it was brought out. They back both sides. The white man, the devil, y'all.
The hell is
It's the devil. I mean, his blessing is war. Now let's look at America's strategy. Let's go. We're gonna end it there, and let's go to America's strategy. What is exactly America's strategy? Let's look into that. Let's get the first timestamp.
I will vote.
Make sure y'all donate. All right, pull that up.
Trump.
Play.
We know U.S. had always had a hate boner for Venezuela because, ever since Hugo Chavez came to power,
hate boner is
and trying
wild.
to assert Venezuelan sovereignty, U.S. always had a hate boner against the government in Venezuela. But why did they decide to crank up that aggression up to 11 at this particular juncture?
Yeah, well, look back at the first Cold War, Cold War I, and the U.S. recognized that it could not wage a direct war with the Soviet Union, so it went around trying to destabilize any potential allies of the Soviet Union to try to encircle the Soviet Union and weaken it.
That's what they're doing now, right, with BRICS. Let's play on.
Now, right? So the U.S. is going after China as allies and partners, trying to weaken and destabilize them in order to try to isolate China. We see this certainly in the Asia Pacific region, like with the Philippines being a classic example. The previous Philippine president, Duterte, was much more pro-China. He's now being, going through this kangaroo court, which is completely absurd. The current extremely corrupt oligarch leader of the Philippines, Bongbong Marcos, the son, he's, Ferdinand Marcos Jr., the son of Ferdinand Marcos Sr., the U.S.-backed dictator who was a brutal dictator. He ruled with an iron fist, killed thousands of people in the Philippines. He was a key U.S. ally in the first Cold War. His son now is another U.S. proxy, and he's allowing the U.S. to establish new military bases in the northern part of the Philippines with offensive missile systems aimed at the Chinese mainland that can hit most major cities in the Chinese mainland, as far as Chongqing, and that's where you're from. I mean, it's crazy, over 2,000 kilometers in these missile systems called the Typhoon missile systems. So, I mean,
that's why they set up puppet governments right there. Play on.
The U.S. is trying to, in every country surrounding China, India, which is it's not very successful there, in Southeast Asia, certainly with Japan and South Korea, it's trying to encircle China, and then it's going to other regions and trying to destabilize China-friendly governments. Obviously, probably the closest ally of China or partner of China in Latin America is Venezuela. And of course, Venezuela has very large oil reserves. I mean, I always point out when we're doing geopolitical analysis, it's never just one reason, right? Like, for instance, the war in Iraq was not just about oil, but ignoring the oil factor is, of course, also very naive. Like, there's a multitude of factors here. In the case of Venezuela, well, let me start with Latin America in general, then I'll get to Venezuela. So the U.S. strategy, again, I've talked about how the U.S. recognizes that in the short term, it can't continue to escalate too much against China without causing more backlash, more blowback on the U.S. So they need to find ways to decouple and ways to provide opportunities for more escalation in the medium term against China. So right now, the strategy is solidifying U.S. hegemony across the entire Western Hemisphere.
Across the entire Western Hemisphere. U.S. hegemony across the Western Hemisphere to push out all competitors, right? And it's going to refer back to the Monroe Doctrine that we're going to go over later. Play on.
Colonial, or the old school colonial Monroe Doctrine, which is a 202-year-old colonial doctrine that essentially says that all of Latin America and all of the Western Hemisphere is part of the U.S. imperial sphere of influence. And the U.S. empire should control everything that happens in this region. And
hey, to your point, officer, that's the point of the proxies, is to allow missiles in a certain place. So when you look at the quote-unquote state of Israel, the Israelites, the Amalek, that's all that is. Amalek being over in the land of Israel is only to be a proxy to a base. It is a base for white supremacy within the quote-unquote Middle East, to be able to steal the oil of the Arabs and to set up the vision that they're God's people. It's not just a proxy for physical war, but spiritual war as well.
Right. Military, right? They can set up, they set up bases all over the world. That's why they use the Philippines, right? Mm-hmm. And South Korea, they want to surround China. Exactly. And Taiwan.
Basically everything.
Strategy.
Everything's
war and strategy.
Everything is so I'm getting it now. The Monroe Doctrine is basically to keep white supremacy throughout the
Latin
Americas.
America, yeah. Come on. And the Caribbeans.
And the Caribbean. Okay,
yes.
Latin America and the Caribbeans. And Venezuela is friendly to China. So before they can start beef with China for global power, they got to destabilize the countries that may have ties to China or relations.
Right. So Venezuela first, then they're going to eventually have to hit Brazil, which is the biggest country in South America.
Right.
And it's a part of BRICS.
Everything.
So they got to start small.
And don't get it confused. Don't think in your mind that China is the good guy or Russia or Iran is the good guy.
Right.
China evil as hell too.
Psalms 83.
Yeah, exactly. They all evil. China is not in. Just like Bishop Kanai was going over about how China go into Africa and they whooping on them people over there and they abusing them. They sleeping with the women so that they can steal the land rights. Same thing that Esau did with the tribe of Gad. China evil. Moab is evil as hell.
And our brothers and sisters in the Solomon Islands, China's over here trying to influence that as well.
Now, this is all the Lord. This is the making of World War III.
Come on.
right.
That's all it is. Let's go to the next timestamp.
U.S. has always been an empire that claims not to be an empire, right? So the Monroe Doctrine originally was the U.S. empire as it was beginning to establish itself and expanding territorially, not only to the west by stealing the land of indigenous Americans, Native Americans, but also moving to the south. So the Monroe Doctrine was issued in 1823. In 1846, the U.S. invaded Mexico in an illegal war of aggression, and they colonized the northern half of Mexico, which, by the way, are today some of the areas with the largest oil reserves and natural resource reserves, including...
See, we didn't know that.
How are the secret things of Esau searched out? He telling on himself.
Right. They have some of the world's largest oil reserves in Mexico.
That goes into Genesis 49 where it
Yes.
talks about how it said, what it said. We ain't got to pull it, but that the land, it was pleasant. That goes into, it's full of oil and resources.
Resources that we didn't know. Play on.
Two of the biggest states in the U.S. economy, California and Texas, which were part of Mexico, stolen from Mexico. So as the U.S. declared the so-called Monroe Doctrine, it was territorially expanding its empire, and it was a clever colonial strategy because the U.S. said, we're going to protect these independent republics in Latin America who just earned their independence from Spanish and Portuguese colonialism. We're going to protect them. Of course, that's absurd. The US is not protecting
quotation
them.
marks. It's extortion, like we talked about last week. It's extortion. Go ahead, play.
It was replacing the Spanish and the Portuguese colonialists as the new colonialists. And today,
Right, as
actually,
we talked about last week. Play on.
the Monroe Doctrine is kind of cited in a very similar way. The U.S. says, we're protecting the region from China and Russia and Iran and their nefarious meddling. And the U.S. says China and Russia cannot meddle in Latin America. Only we can meddle in Latin America, right?
Yeah, they're saying that while they're killing them and bombing them.
What the hell is this?
Okay.
This is a reestablishing dominance in the Western Hemisphere. This is a part of the strategy of America. That's what we got to understand. Play on.
This is the strategy. And then, of course, resources are part of this, but it's also kind of just more solidifying this entire geographic region and also preventing any of these countries from being potential Chinese allies if there is a future war with China, right? So, like, for instance, if there's a war with China, Venezuela would probably allow Chinese or Russian forces to use Venezuelan territory, right?
Right, sort of like they
the
did with
US
Cuba. Play on.
is trying to solidify imperial control over the entire region. Now, in terms of Greenland, which is the Panama Canal is obvious. Trump wants to colonize that.
Colonize the Panama Canal because he's saying, oh, Chinese businesses are here. We got to kick them out. So he want to do that as well. Next timestamp. Yes, sir. Let's get the next timestamp.
Leads to rising global temperatures. It's going to start to melt some of the ice in the Arctic, and it's going to make it easier for ships to go through the Arctic and near Greenland. So the U.S. already has a military base in Greenland. They want to colonize it, militarize it further, and exploit its critical minerals. So
right. So yeah, he's talking about Greenland now, right? What? Let's play. Keep playing.
Issues are all related to kind of preparation, strengthening the U.S. empire, strengthening its control over key commodities, natural resources, critical minerals, to make its own kind of supply chain within Latin America. And another part of this, by the way, is exploiting cheap labor in Latin America.
Exploiting cheap labor in Latin America. Play on.
The U.S. wants to reindustrialize. Trump says that. But they're not going to do that realistically in the U.S. It's not going to happen. We're actually seeing the number of manufacturing jobs in the U.S. falling under Trump. And so what they're going to have to do realistically is friend shore. A lot of that's going to Mexico, but they want to send it also to other parts of Latin America. They want to send it to like Argentina, Chile, maybe Ecuador, although Ecuador is becoming a failed state under these U.S. puppet leaders, where they can pay people, 1/5 of what U.S. workers would be paid, even less. And yet these would be U.S. companies. I mean, doing what they did in China.
Reindustrialize Latin America.
So slavery.
Back to slavery. Cheap labor. Back to remember we talked about last week, what was it? 40 cents?
Yeah.
Or what?
Yeah. 4 cents.
4 cents.
4 cents.
Damn. Which you're right.
Obviously, heavy what you say, because, that's why Trump changed the name from the Mexico Gulf to America Gulf. And then, because we noticed that China was taking over the Cannibal Canal, when he came over, he said, hey, we didn't build the canal for China. So that's why they want to take over the canal.
Right. Well, they was doing business with China, but U.S. using this politics saying that China is taking over the canal, which is a lie, just so the U.S. can come in and take over. All right, let's play that out.
But the difference is they're going to make sure that there are these puppet governments that are these complete neoliberal libertarians like Javier Milei in Argentina, who are going to end all state support, end all industrial policy. Argentina is deindustrializing very rapidly as we speak. So they'll invest and try to make Teslas in Argentina or something. And then the Argentine government's never going to actually have.
Okay, stop it there. Let's pull up the next. We're going to pull up. Let's pull up what reindustrialization is, and then we're going to go back to the last timestamp. Let's pull up reindustrialization. So we can all know what America is, what their strategy is, and what they're trying to do. Let's pull that up. It's the pictures right under there, under the video. Yep, right there. Let's get that.
Reindustrialization means revitalizing or reestablishing industries in a region. Often deindustrialization through modernization, technology, investment, and policy to boost economic growth, create jobs, and enhance competitiveness. Focusing on sectors from manufacturing like chips to infrastructure, often with a modern twist. Example, green tech. It's about rebuilding industrial capacity for economic strength and national security.
So this is what they did for cheap labor. They sent companies to China back in the day, but they had policy constraints. But now they're not going to have policy constraints. When they're going to basically bring back slavery in the southern or western hemisphere.
Right.
That's it.
Throughout Latin America.
Throughout Latin America is their goal. They can't do it in the U.S., but they're going to do it in Central and South America. They plan to do it. All right. Let's see the key aspects of reindustrialization.
Key aspects of reindustrialization. Go back. Revitalization, bringing back declining or lost industries like steel, manufacturing, or resource extraction. Modernization, upgrading factories with new tech, AI, cloud automation to stay competitive rather than just building a new ones.
So they're going to move all their stuff from these other countries and put them in South America. Read on.
Economic goals, stimulating growth, creating good jobs, diversifying economies, and reducing reliance on imports.
That's one of the main goals, economic goal, reduce reliance on imports. They don't have to wait on shipments to come in or nothing. Next.
Policy driven. Often involves government support, tax incentives, and strategic planning.
Strategic planning. Next.
Focus areas can include advanced manufacturing, green technology, infrastructure, grids and roads, and critical resources.
Let's get the next page. Let's see why is this happening.
Why it's happening? To counter job losses from globalization and offshoring.
To counter job losses, but what we read earlier is to prevent dependency, right, on globalization and offshoring. Next.
Oh, go ahead. To build resilience against supply chain disruptions and global shocks.
To build a defense against supply chain disruptions, right? Global disruptions. To build a defense against that. Next.
To enhance national security by securing critical domestic production.
To enhance national security by securing, right, critical domestic production, right? It's secure, right? There's nothing, right, that could stop domestic production, right? Nothing, because we have it in now the continent over here. So in none of your politics can't stop our production, or you can't. Nothing can stop the our domestic production or economy.
It's like they understand war is heating up, so they want to keep everything in house.
They want to keep everything in house to have their dominance.
Right,
Not just their war is heating up, but they've had problems, right?
Right.
They've had problems because now it's interconnected with the world.
Right.
They're going to remove that interconnection.
Yeah, like basically during the time of the Cold War and the post-Cold War, they was able to go to China for a lot of manufacturing because in their mind, places like China and India would always be the place where they could get cheap labor. But as China and India were just like, man, I don't want to deal with this white man. I'm finna do it for myself. Now the white man's like, all right, we need to put these Negroes, i.e. you Hispanics, you Latin Americans, you're Negroes, we need to put y'all back to work. That's the mind of the white man.
Bring it out.
Right. Because China and all those places, they had policy restrictions, right? Meaning they was able to build their military, their economy, and everything off of, I guess, what they call offshore labor.
Right. It's
It's
basically everybody on earth except blacks and Hispanics want to rule the world.
Exactly.
We the only people on earth that just love being slaves.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Jeremiah 2 and 22.
Homeborn slave.
Yeah, homeborn slave. Yeah.
Right, we are. Now let's go back to the last timestamp on the video. The last timestamp. No, I don't need that one.
Now that makes sense, officer, because you hear a lot of people. A lot of Esau will encourage like buying American-built cars.
Yeah, American.
And they'll like shun buying China and foreign-built cars right at this time. So that makes sense with what's going on.
Gotta get you something American.
Chevrolet.
Get you a Chevy and a Ford and a Dodge. Why you buying a Honda?
Right, Hyundais.
Mitsubishi.
Right, they shun that stuff.
You said a who?
All right.
Mitsubishi.
All right, let's play that.
The idea is for the entire Americas to try to prevent the Americas to reduce all of its trade with China.
Okay,
China
here's the idea. Play.
Actually has a lot of trade with Brazil. Brazil's largest trading partner by far is China. And China imports a lot of...
The slave masters are telling the other slave masters, which is Chinese folk, Moab, these are slaves. These are good old slaves that we brought to the Americas, that we brought to Central, South America, or if we didn't bring them, we came and conquered them. That's basically what it is.
That's
Go ahead.
Here. To maintain their dominance, to reestablish dominance, right, in the Western Hemisphere. Play on.
Damn, it's a fight to control Israel.
Latin American countries are joining the Belt and Road Initiative, and the largest port in China, largest
Belt
port
to
in Latin
Road
America.
Initiatives is highways and road construction throughout the land, or the continent, or the country. That's what they're doing in Africa right now. Play on.
Just opened, which is the port of Chancay in Peru, which is it was invested heavily by China. It's a joint Peruvian-Chinese port, but the major Chinese, it was built by Chinese state-owned construction companies, and one of the main operators is Costco, not to be confused with Costco, like the U.S. company. Costco is the Chinese state-owned shipping giant. So Latin America is becoming more important for China's trade, and Latin America in the past few decades has become more and more independent of the U.S. empire. So the U.S. strategy is to try to solidify more control, and this would also be a threat to other countries in the global south, especially Africa, saying you cannot have close relations with China. We're in a new Cold War. We're not going to allow you to be non-aligned. The U.S. is going to try to force countries to say you have to pick a side. You're either with us or against us, as George Bush said. And Venezuela is this country that, first of all, again, given all the resources, it would be very strategic, but also symbolically, it would be a massive blow to, first of all, the entire Latin American left. If Venezuela falls, almost certainly Cuba will fall. And then the U.S. would probably also try to overthrow the Sandinista government in Nicaragua. And then any other left-wing government in Latin America would be immediately threatened. You know, Brazil is the real prize, but that's much more difficult. They tried to do that by imprisoning Lula on fake charges in 2018.
Right,
and
remember
putting
I said that, but
Bolsonaro
he
in
came
power.
back.
But, you know, Brazil's
Keep playing.
Lula's been very clever, and they were able to, like, you know, take action against Bolsonaro because of the coup attempt and all of this. But, I mean, the strategy is to go to these different regions, to weaken all of the independent countries that are Chinese allies, to destabilize them, to impose hegemonic control, and then to send a message to other countries that they'll be next to try to isolate China.
Right there. That's their strategy, right? Now we're going to pull up the next video. Trump seeks to revive Monroe Doctrine.
Do you mind if I pull the scripture real quick?
Right after this.
Okay.
Let's play that one. It's from the great Montana. Play that.
Laying out his national security goals in a new memo that puts new focus on the Western Hemisphere. And this comes as some of the president's supporters say he's straying from his America First vision. National correspondent Ultra Elnishar reports from Washington.
Shy of a year into his second term, President Trump details in this newly released national security memo how he wants to change America's relationships and responsibilities in every region of the globe. The president's top priority is connected to his months of strikes on alleged drug boats.
Very soon we're going to start doing it on land, too.
Trump's memo states, after years of neglect, the United States will reassert and enforce the Monroe Doctrine to restore American preeminence in the Western Hemisphere.
If you're focused on America and America first, you start with your own hemisphere where we live.
A big part of this is creating a
So-called
larger
Cuba.
U.S. military presence in the Western Hemisphere, particularly the Navy and Coast Guard, to control sea lanes, to thwart illegal and other unwanted migration, to reduce human and drug trafficking, and to control key
Now that's
transit
just
routes in
a
a crisis.
ploy, right? They're going to control sea lanes, but anybody try to ship any goods, they're going to blow them to pieces. That's how it's going to be. It's just starting with the so-called drug boats.
And even if it is, and they can just say it's drugs.
Yeah,
And
they
like you
can
said,
say, but
go ahead.
yeah, that's the plan, to destroy anything that enters the Western Hemisphere.
Right.
Amazing.
Play on.
Another tactic, tariffs. The president says he's prioritizing what he calls commercial diplomacy to boost American commerce while making it harder for non-hemispheric competitors to increase their influence in the region. And the White House says we should make every effort to push out foreign companies that build infrastructure in the region. The Trump administration says all of this is part of their America First strategy, but even some of the president's own supporters argue he's too focused on foreign affairs.
America First should mean America First and only Americans first.
Where the Trump administration wants America to shoulder less responsibility is Europe, claiming the continent is in decline in part due to migration.
They don't care about NATO no more. They don't want them to have no responsibility. He basically saying they're on a decline.
That's because Europe ain't got nothing.
They want all power. The U.S. just want all power. They don't want to share it.
Europe, there's nothing in Europe. It's the bottomless pit, like it says in Revelations. They want where they could get resources, where they can monopolize the game.
Bring it out.
All right, play on.
They also accuse European leaders of having unrealistic expectations for peace in Ukraine and argue NATO should stop expanding.
This memo has
Hear
much
that?
in it.
NATO should stop expanding. Damn. That's that divide. It's starting to make sense. Let's get Revelation 17:16.
Let's go.
The book of Revelations, chapter 17 and verse 16.
Come on.
And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast.
This is NATO.
These shall hate the whore.
They shall hate the whore, which is America.
And shall make her desolate.
And make her what?
Desolate.
And what?
And naked. And shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire.
And burn her with what?
Fire.
That's a nuclear weapon. 2nd Ezra 15. Let's go to 2nd Ezra 15. We're going to start at verse 40.
The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 15 and verse 40. The great and mighty clouds shall be lifted up full of wrath, and the star that they may make...
Those are the missiles, the nuclear missiles. Read.
That they may make all the earth afraid, and them that dwell therein. And they shall pour out every high and eminent place and horrible star.
Bombs.
Hit
missiles.
the bomb.
Right, read on.
Fire and hail.
Fire. Read.
And flying swords.
Same thing, missiles.
And many waters, that all fields may be full, and all rivers with the abundance of great waters.
Read.
And they shall break down the cities and walls, mountains and hills, trees of the wood and grass of the meadows.
Because there's going to be total destruction, read.
And their corn. And they shall go steadfastly unto Babylon, and make her afraid.
Babylon meaning America, read on.
They shall come to her and besiege her. The star and all wrath shall they pour out upon her. Then shall the dust and smoke go up into the heaven.
So that dust and smoke would be from that nuclear destruction. Read.
And all they that be about her shall bewail her.
And they shall bewail her. Revelation 18:16. They're going to mourn at America's destruction. Revelation 18 and verse 16.
Let's go.
Revelation chapter 18 and verse 16. And saying, Alas, alas, that great city that was clothed in fine linen and purple and scarlet and decked with gold and precious stones.
Rich, read.
And pearls. For in 1 hour.
In how many hours?
1 hour.
1 hour what?
So great riches is come to naught.
Everything going to come to naught due to her destruction. Read.
And every shipmaster and all the company and ships and sailors and as many as trade by sea stood afar off.
Read.
And cried when they saw the smoke of her burning.
They bewailed of her when they saw the smoke of her burning. Read.
Saying, what city is like unto this great city?
Let's go to Ezekiel 35:5 now.
Let's go.
Let's read that.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 35 and verse 5.
Bring it out.
Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity.
Which is they're still doing right now. Read.
In the time that their iniquity had an end.
Right now, they're still not allowing us to prosper.
Come on.
Right. We're able to make decent deals with other nations, I guess, at this time. But they're just like, no, you going back into slavery. Right? We're going to reindustrialize South America. Meaning we're going to bring manufacturing companies back in, and you're going to be working again for a penny on a dollar again. Read on.
Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord God, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Sit thou as not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee.
That blood, that same blood that you put upon us, that you pursue us with, that's going to pursue you now. Now your people is going to die by the millions. Read on.
Thus will I make Mount Seir most desolate.
And you're going to be destroyed, Mount Seir, which is Esau. Going to be desolate. Read.
And cut off from him that passeth out and him that returneth.
Read.
and I will fill his mountains with his slain men.
America's going to be filled with slain men, destroyed from nuclear bombs. Read.
In thy hills and thy valleys, and in all thy rivers shall they fall that are slain with the sword.
Read.
I will make the perpetual desolations, and thy cities shall not return.
Ain't none of your cities going to return. It won't be no more America or Vespucci. Right? No more Caesar's Borgia. Or whatever else city you name, Ronald Reagan City. Or Andrew Jackson City. Or Mount who? Mount Rushmore, whatever.
Hit the
Read
bomb!
And I shall fall that are slain with the sword. I will make thee perpetual desolations, and thy city shall not return. And ye shall know that I am the Lord. Because thou hast said, these two nations,
which is Judah and Israel, the northern and southern kingdom, read.
And these two countries,
two countries, which is the land of Israel and America,
shall be mine.
Y'all said, Esau said it was going to be his. They claim to be us now. They took Israel, then they came and took America. Huh? God's people are there in both places.
That's right.
And we will possess it.
And they said it was going to possess it. The people and the land. And they did. Read.
Whereas the Lord was there.
Read on.
Therefore, as I live,
on my life as I live, said the Lord. Read.
Come on. Saith the Lord God. I will even do according to thine anger and according to thine envy, which thou hast used out of thy hatred against them. And I will make myself known amongst them when I have judged thee.
He's going to judge you with the same anger that you have against us, which is our complete destruction. If you could, we wouldn't exist no more as a people. Message. All right. Now let's finish. You got your scripture? You got a scripture you want to pull?
Yeah, go to Deuteronomy 28.
Let's go.
Because with like you said, officer, they want to put us back in slavery. That includes you so-called Hispanics, you so-called Venezuelans, you so-called Mexicans, you so-called Nicaraguans. You're the Israelites. And everything Donald Trump in America is doing right now goes to prove that you're the Israelites. Go ahead, read that. Verse 33.
Deuteronomy 28, verse 33.
Bring it out.
The fruit of thy land.
The fruit of your land is your oil, is your bauxite, your resources, the minerals, everything that Central and South America is rich in. Read.
Come on.
And all thy labors.
And all thy labors, meaning he want to put you back in the field. America want to take Latin America back to when Hernan Cortez and Francisco Pizarro and Christopher Columbus came over here and initially put the so-called Hispanics into slavery. He want to bring it back to that. Your labor is you going into slavery. Read.
Come on.
Shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up.
Talk about America, talk about Russia, talk about China, talking about Iran, talk about all these different nations. Read.
And thou shalt be only oppressed and crushed always.
Oppression. That oppression lets you know that you're the Israelites. You're not Venezuelan. You're not Colombian. You're not Nicaraguan or Honduran or Guatemalan or Mexican. We are the Israelites.
That's
all right,
right.
So we're going to pull up the Monroe Doctrine, and then you're just going to hit play on it. Let's see what the Monroe Doctrine is. So let's pull up that Monroe Doctrine. Just hit play right there. Yep. Put it on the screen. Yep, and stroll up.
As a young nation, the United States sought to assert itself as a legitimate country at a global level, one that needed to be taken seriously and listened to. An early example of America asserting itself is the Monroe Doctrine. The Monroe Doctrine was put forth in 1823 by President James Monroe's 7th Annual State of the Union address to Congress. It established one of America's first major foreign policies. At this time, many colonies in the Western Hemisphere and Latin America were gaining their independence from European empires. Some European monarchies were planning to help countries like Spain and Portugal reclaim their colonies. Afraid that this might happen to them, the United States wanted to ensure that European powers would not try to regain control over the Americas. In 1823, President Monroe announced that the American continents were no longer to be colonized by European powers in the future, and the U.S. would not interfere in the global affairs of Europe. Monroe asserted that the New World and the Old World were to remain distinctly separate spheres of influence. Further, President Monroe warned that any efforts from the European powers to take back their colonies would be considered dangerous to our peace and safety. The doctrine was not taken seriously at first by other countries. Countries like France felt that the U.S. had no right to make such bold statements. However, the U.S. maintained the Monroe Doctrine and used it as a basis for many foreign policy issues, even up until the 1980s. The Monroe Doctrine was important in showing the United States as a new world power and protector of the freedom and independence in the Americas.
Let's pull up the U.S. unveiled new security strategy. Focuses on its own interests. Let's pull up that one next. So we went over the Monroe Doctrine, what it is, basically the U.S. dominance over the Western Hemisphere, right? They're saying that the Western Hemisphere is a U.S. colony. No one else is allowed to infiltrate this territory. This belongs to the U.S., period. All right, play that.
We have a government that has given unlimited funding to the defense of foreign borders.
Donald Trump made it clear the United States foreign policy would change. On Friday, the White House unveiled its new national security strategy. For decades, the U.S. was the hub in the wheel of international security and trade. The new strategy says the days of the U.S. propping up the entire world order like Atlas are over, that the affairs of other countries are U.S. concerns only if their activities directly threaten American interests, and the U.S. will enforce the Monroe Doctrine to restore its preeminence in the Western Hemisphere.
A really popular line of argumentation is that the administration wants to go back to a more 19th century style of diplomacy with spheres of influence.
President James Monroe's 1823 policy is receiving an update, focusing on immigration and alleged narco-terrorism. The strategy mentions Canada in context of trade deficits. U.S. strategy expert Susan Coburn says that likely means the White House maintains tariffs.
I would suspect that at least some within the Trump administration also see Canada fitting squarely under the Europe subheading.
That means defending ourselves.
L'unité entre les Américains.
French President Emmanuel Macron says unity between the U.S. and Europe on Ukraine is essential. A day earlier, a German publication leaked a transcript of a call where Macron told Germany's chancellor the U.S. could betray Ukraine. Macron denied saying that. The new U.S. strategy states it wants the Ukraine-Russia war to quickly end.
This document makes it pretty clear that there will be no security guarantees for Ukraine.
NATO watcher Andreas Kasakamp says the new strategy puts allies at risk.
They're much more likely to get involved in conflict because competitive powers are going to take advantage.
It looks like allies will have to adapt, aware the U.S. focus on security could invite more instability. Nathaniel Dove, Global News.
Will be more instability because the U.S. now focuses on U.S., meaning eventually they're going to take all their oil refineries out of Saudi Arabia. They're going to take all their, these countries now going to have to come to them for oil. Have to come for them for natural resources like gas. It's going to get crazy. They're going to do anything to maintain their power. Let's pull up the last video now, and let's see what Russia is doing.
What happens when the scenario America has spent 2 centuries preventing finally becomes reality? This morning, intelligence analysts in Virginia and Colorado confirmed what Pentagon leadership feared most. Russia has successfully deployed advanced strike systems on Venezuelan soil capable of reaching the American mainland. For the first time,
just like they did Cuba. Play on.
Since the Cuban Missile Crisis, a hostile power has positioned strategic weapons in the Western Hemisphere, and Washington is responding with what sources describe as maximum alert across multiple defense installations. This isn't another round of diplomatic posturing or routine military exercises. This is the moment American strategists have been dreading since 1823, when the Monroe Doctrine declared the Americas off-limits to European powers. That foundational principle of U.S. security policy has now been violated not politely, but with the same devastating tools Russia has been using to reshape the battlefield in Ukraine. I've spent decades studying great power competition and strategic signaling, and what we're witnessing represents a fundamental shift in the global balance of power. Russia has successfully established what military planners call a bridgehead in America's backyard, a permanent foothold designed to expand, consolidate, and project power directly against the United States homeland. The implications extend far beyond Venezuela and touch the very foundations of American strategic planning. The discovery began quietly, as these things always do. Satellite sweeps detected thermal signatures that Venezuela shouldn't possess, shadows at military installations that matched patterns familiar to intelligence analysts who had been tracking Russian deployments worldwide. The equipment was being concealed, but not well enough to escape detection by systems specifically designed to monitor exactly this type of activity. Confirmation came through multiple intelligence streams: transport erector launcher vehicles. The mobile platforms that make missile systems nearly impossible to target were identified through overhead imagery. Russian-manufactured long-range missile systems, with their distinctive radar arrays, became visible despite camouflage efforts. Most telling was the arrival of Russian Il-76 military transport aircraft carrying heat-resistant covered equipment that could only serve one purpose.
So as you can see, Russia has sophisticated military equipment in Venezuela. That's what they've discovered. So this thing is heating up. This thing is heating up. What y'all got anything?
Let's go. Come on.
Yeah, press the button.
Yep.
Habakkuk 2 and 5.
The book of Habakkuk, chapter 2 and verse 5.
Let's go.
Yea, also, because he transgresseth by wine.
Start at verse 4.
Habakkuk, chapter 2 and verse 4. Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him.
We're talking about Edom. Esau, Edom, America, Babylon the Great. Go ahead.
But the just shall live by his faith.
Now read verse 5.
Yea, also, because he transgresseth by wine. He is a proud man.
It says Esau is a proud man. America is so proud, meaning they feel like they got to rule everything. Everything has to go through them. They're the greatest. They're the top G. Go ahead.
Neither keepeth at home.
And it says neither keepeth at home. America is everywhere. With the scripture you read earlier that they got bases everywhere. America is all across the world because they feel like the whole world is theirs. Go ahead.
Who enlargeth his desire as hell. And is as death.
It is as death because no matter where this white man go, death follows. People can be completely innocent. Kids getting bombed. When they go to Venezuela, bombing the fishermen saying, well, they had drugs. No, they didn't. You just kill. You bring death everywhere. Go ahead.
And cannot be satisfied.
And they're never satisfied. That's why they want to be that world power. They want to be what they call the unipolar moment. They want to bring that back. They said they never said they need to have everything. They want to be God. Go ahead.
But gathereth unto him all nations. And heapeth unto him all people.
But it's going to backfire him because when they go bring forth death and all the nations they come to, they bring those same victims of the families that's been killed. They bring them home and they got caterpillars now. Allah Akbar. Exactly. And they go, America is going to be destroyed from the inside out. And then when Christ comes back, it's going to be burned forever. These people aren't your God. They're your enemy. And we got to realize that and come back to God. If you're not Venezuelan, you're from the tribe of Asher.
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. All right, y'all. All praises for it. It was a good show. Good show. Hasadiah?
All right. If you don't want to be burned up when Christ returns, we have a school near you. 9034 East Easter Place, Centennial, Colorado. Or you can visit IsraelUnite.org where we teach classes 3 times a day, 7 days a week. For free. Find a school near you. Subscribe to IUIC TV. Make sure you donate to the Booster Club. I gotta turn my chair. Boom, right here. Donate to the Booster Club. Continue to send profits all around the world. Also, hit that commercial.
We be on the road. Everybody knows.
So We are always striving to provide the best experience for our customers. That's why we value your feedback. Don't be shy. Send in your reviews to help us provide the best quality and stylish products. OriginalRoyalty.com. Take your phones out, scan that QR code, and follow Original Royalty on all platforms to stay up to date with our latest drops.
All praise Most High. Shout out to the B&T team. We got Almar and DJ EZZ holding down the ones and twos. We got Soldier and Bob, Brother Nate also helping out. Live studio audience. Shout out to the brothers and sisters that came with support. All praise Most High. Officer Don.
Hey, shout out to our bishop, deacons, and captains.
That's right.
All praise to the Most High. Hey, y'all make sure y'all take heed to the information we brought out. Hey, because it's bigger than what we think. All right, America is trying to reestablish dominance in the Western Hemisphere. Right? Reinitiate the Monroe Doctrine, which is a slave doctrine. All right? Hey, I'm Officer Dunn, and to my right,
Officer Hasadiah.
Officer Jair.
Officer Jonah.
Officer Jatanan.
and we have been the Natives Hour, home of the 10 tribes.
Hickory dickory, I know you sick of me, but you a God's enemy. If you live wickedly, don't be an idiot. Follow for trickery, most I has had enough. Call all the deacons up, and all of the captains, it's time to get active. We never reacted, we swinging the action, cut you running out of time.